Create custom alarms with your favorite radio stations, all free with the radio.com app.
College football, it's the game you wake up early on Saturdays for, even though kickoff isn't until 7. The game where the Goodyear blimp becomes a Hall of Famer. The game that goes just beyond school, spirit, fandom, or love of the sport. It's the game where the comebacks happen. It's the game where anything can and will happen, as long as you have the drive. Because college football is the game that moves you. We get it because it moves us too. Goodyear, more driven.
It's time for some straight talk. Look, we all drop our phones. It happens. You fumble it, crack it, splash it. Well, Straight Talk Wireless now offers this new Platinum Unlimited plan that includes phone protection. Just $65 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data, plus 20 gigs of hotspot, 100 gigs of cloud storage, and more. All on the best network. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise. See Mobile Protect terms and conditions at Asurion.com/Straight Talk. Limitations and exclusions apply.
You could continuously cough for hours on end, or you could take Delsym Cough. Delsym Cough gives you 12 cough relief hours. Visit Delsym, DELSYM.com. Use as directed.
Listen, stream, and now watch. Don't miss the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. On Twitter, make sure to give us a follow. Search 1410 Kinner for Justin Kinner on Twitter. That's 1410 KINNER. And ESPN Dayton for the station Twitter handle.
All right, everybody, we welcome you in. It is the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash here on a Thursday. This week's flying by the way.
Super fast.
And there are certain days where I feel like I have control of the day. I have control of my to-do list. And then there's days like today where it's just literally one thing after another. And I'm pretty sure a lot of other people can relate. But regardless, the fun part about this is that no matter how stressful my day-to-day stuff is, I at least get to crack this mic. You get to crack this mic, and we get to hang out with all the listeners. So that's
absolutely, and talk sports, man. Argue.
Yeah. No. I'm on my best behavior today. Maybe.
See how long that lasts.
Yeah, we will see how long. It's not going to last too much longer. All right. Again, happy Thursday. Hope everyone had a great day. Lots to get into. Let's open up with Ohio State football. How about that? We're going to dive into what to expect this coming up weekend. The Buckeyes and Michigan State, as of now, is still on, and that's going to be the big thing to keep an eye on moving forward. Now, we'll switch gears coming up in a little bit. We will be joined by Cincinnati Reds pitcher Tejay Antone. He's going to come up at 3:30. So he'll join us. I know right now on the screen it says 5:40. He's actually calling into the show at 3:30. 3:30 we will be joined by Reds pitcher Tejay Antone. So that'll be coming up here in just a little bit. But Kev, today on the Ryan Day Coaches Show, Ryan Day addressed the situation going on with Ohio State right now at the current moment, where they're a week removed from canceling their game against Illinois. Obviously, the outbreak that has occurred led to them canceling against Illinois. Now, they did not meet the necessary threshold for say to cancel it, but because they just thought that they felt that the number was still too a little bit overwhelming, and decided that they would rather get control of the virus now. Getting the Illinois game in. Okay, you get the Illinois game in, and then you risk more exposure. Right. You risk more of an outbreak. I wasn't viewing it this way yesterday. Yesterday, I was annoyed. I was like, no, they canceled their own game. That's on them. It's, you know what I mean? Especially if they didn't meet the threshold. But Gene Smith comes out and kind of went more in detail about why they canceled the game. We did not meet the threshold, but there were still enough positive cases and still enough unknowns that it was one of those where we wanted to isolate everyone away. Mm-hmm. Sure, there was negative tests that came back, but that's negative right off the bat when they tested. Who knows if how long it takes before the virus really starts to take over. Yeah. They wanted an extra week of testing, an extra week of isolation, an extra week of making sure that they can really go in detail through the contact tracing to make sure that everyone was separate enough and long enough that they would be able to have enough of a roster for this week's game. The problem is that it may not be all up to you, the Buckeyes, whether they play or not. Mel Tucker and Michigan State can say, we don't, with everything going on in Ohio State, with all the, positive tests, we don't feel very comfortable coming here. That happened with Florida State in Clemson a few weeks ago. The only thing that they were frustrated about, too, was the timing of which they did it, of course, but they found out literally on the flight over for Clemson. I would hope that if Michigan State was planning on pulling the plug on this, that they would do it sooner rather than later. just to give, the Buckeyes could have maybe found another game to play this Saturday if necessary. The Big Ten has been flexible there. The bottom line is, no matter if Ohio State plays this weekend or not, they are going to be shorthanded. That is the one thing Ryan Day did say during his coach's show today. Ryan Day did not specify how shorthanded they're going to be. We don't know which players are out. It could be Justin Fields. It could be, Trey Sermon. It could be, who knows who it is. But he did emphasize that they will be shorthanded. It's either they're going to be shorthanded on the bench or that they're going to be going to the bench early. I don't know what to expect this Saturday. On a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you that they are playing?
5. I just don't see it as high as a lot of other people do. A lot of people out there think since they canceled last week, they're definitely playing this week. Well, 9 times out of 10, when you cancel 1 week, you're canceling the next week.
Yep.
Maryland missed 2 games. Wisconsin missed multiple games. Normally you miss multiple games when you end up having to cancel a game. But if they thought that this was best, canceling last week's game so they could finish up the whole rest of the regular season by isolating those other players, maybe they found out a way that they could pull it off. It's just one funny thing I noticed that you were talking about coach's show today. He's talking about shorthanded, and they don't give out names. You're not giving out names of guys who's going to be out. That's another big difference between the NFL and college football. Like, there's an injury report in the NFL. There's not an injury report in college football. They have a COVID list in the NFL. There's not a COVID list in college football. So it's like those small things, like they're playing the same game, but they're still 2 totally different sports.
Yeah, but we will be at least able to kind of piece it together tomorrow. They have to at least provide the roster of available players. So the NFL, they provide the players that are out. They kind of do it in reverse here, though, because they do have to provide the roster that is active.
Yeah.
And I do believe that rule should have been changed for this year anyways. Like, I do believe you need to tell the opposing team. Maybe not, though. I don't know. I get it. I guess it's just if they show up, they show up. If not, they don't. But we'll find out tomorrow. They're going to release a roster tomorrow of available players, and we will kind of go from there. The one guy who will not be there in East Lansing coming up on Saturday, Ryan Day, will not be on the sideline coaching the Ohio State Buckeyes. He is the second biggest name head coach to have to miss a game this season due to COVID. We saw Nick Saban nearly miss the game against, was it not LSU? Who was it earlier in the year where they nearly missed? Georgia. The Georgia game. And Nick Saban ended up, it was a false positive, was actually able to coach that game against Georgia. Now in this makeup game with LSU, he is not. Nick Saban was not on the sideline for that either. So Nick Saban and Ryan Day, the 2 biggest name coaches to have to miss games this year already due to testing positive for the coronavirus. So I don't know what that means for Ohio State and what that means internally. During the game, he did say that, during practices, he is getting live video of practices being shot to him during the week from, sitting in his living room, and he is able to communicate with the coaches instantaneously. So I thought that was pretty cool, but that cannot be done during the game. So anything that he sees during a game that he's going to be freaking out about, he is not allowed to communicate with his coaches during the game coming up on Saturday.
Yeah, it's going to be a different situation, not only for the players, but just think about the quarterback, Justin Fields. Like, Coach Ryan Day is the offensive play caller. Normally he's calling the plays and he gets in a rhythm and everything like that. Now you got a totally different play caller on Saturday. So we're still up in the air about who has tested positive player-wise. There's a circumstance where you could have a backup quarterback and a different play caller out there on Saturday. So it's a lot of unknowns right now.
Yes, and the reason that this could become a problem too is, like, let's say that it is Justin Fields. You have freshman quarterbacks sitting behind him.
Mm-hmm.
And I would assume, right, you have Gunnar Hoke, who is a veteran quarterback for, say, transfer quarterback, whatever. I don't care. I mean, I would assume that, let's say it's Justin Fields. Gunnar Hoke would have to be would be who you would have to go with, right?
Yes.
A veteran quarterback. I wouldn't throw Jack Miller or C.J. Stroud. I wouldn't throw those guys under center to start again. By the way, if you're just tuning in and catching this part, Justin Fields has not been announced as testing positive. To be honest, though, I don't think he's part of the group that it has tested. I think that would have leaked by now. I think that would have leaked. You would think, right? Like I would think that you would think that they would get ahead of that too. I mean, like Clemson did that with Trevor Lawrence. He ended up missing the next 5 weeks of games. Now, some because he was in isolation and their protocol, but the others because other teams canceled games due to COVID. So
I don't know. I have no idea. I don't want to speculate who has it, who doesn't. We know some people do. and we're going to find out who's on the traveling roster tomorrow. We're going to have to go from there. But it's like you're saying, if Fields is out there, you feel obviously more comfortable. And if Fields isn't, is it Gunnar Hoke? Is it a freshman? I mean, you will want somebody out there that's taken reps in a college game before. On the road, granted, it's not the same environment that it would be any other college football season with no fans and everything like that. But, you can't sleep on the things that Michigan State has been able to do this year. They have that upset victory over that team up north. They have an upset victory over the number 8 team in the country in Northwestern. Obviously, we all believe that Ohio State is better than both those teams. But shoot, a lot of things, crazier things have happened. If things don't go your way early with your experienced quarterback, if he's out with COVID-19 and you got Gunnar Holt in there, what are you going to do? You're going to go to a freshman? Because I would feel a lot comfortable if we had the dominant running game that we had last year, but our running game isn't dominant like that. Last year's running game, it's good. And I know we're spoiled Ohio State fans. We're used to seeing guys pop 60-yard runs like that. Mm-hmm. This hasn't been the case this year. There have been more 20-yard runs, and we're still mad about it. But we don't have that super dominant running game like we did last year. So if it is a backup quarterback situation, it is something to be concerned about.
All right, Justin Kinner, Kevin Nash with you here. Having camera issues right now on the live feed with the computer. So we are live here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Your camera or my camera?
No, just mine.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm here.
Yeah,
I'm here.
Yours
okay.
is moving. I'm like, I have my mouth wide open and I'm just like staring off into, for whatever reason, it is just not working. So, like everything else in this damn building right now. So no surprise there. But 457-9464. Let's see if the phones are working today. 457-9464. How confident are you that the Ohio State Buckeyes are going to get their 5th game of the season in coming up this Saturday? 457-9464. Ohio State, Illinois. This is not, this went from a little bit ago of, if you miss a game with Illinois, who cares? It's not about who you're playing anymore. It's just about getting some games in that category, right? Like that's all that matters.
Yep.
As far as that goes. So if I'm the Buckeyes, it doesn't matter who you're playing. It's just a matter of getting out on the field. More reports coming out of more positive tests in Michigan. I still think that they're also keeping an eye on that situation that's developing for next week. We're supposed to be gearing up and getting excited for Michigan week next week, and we don't even know if that's going to happen. So this is just, you're right. Yeah, I think it was yesterday we discussed, are you having fun? Is this season fun? And I hadn't thought about it, because I'm like, I'm looking forward to the games, and when they happen, I'm having a good time watching them. But like this waiting stuff right here, you can't even get excited for a game because you don't want to like let yourself down. You don't want to you don't want to, kind of get high on it just to, have a crash like that. Right. So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this Saturday's game. It's just kind of like, I'll believe it when I see it. Yeah. And I guess that's the phrase to use. I'll believe it when I see it. I'll get excited when I see it. For college basketball, for instance, Schrody texted me over the weekend or earlier in the week when UD played. He goes, yeah, that sucked. And I was like, what do you mean? I go, the team didn't look good. He said, no, just the no crowd, the no energy. He goes, it's just, I've had enough. I'm done. He's checked out. Like he's like,
after one game.
No, it's not just that. He goes, it's college football, it's college basketball, it's everything. And I've had multiple friends tell me the same thing, that they don't rush to the TV to catch the game anymore. Because if it's on, great. But that's I'm sure they're not alone in that mindset. This has not been fun. If they play on Saturday and they win, I'm going to be like, okay, but so now what? Because you still have other teams who are playing 10, 11 games, right. And Ohio State's only sitting at game number 5. I don't care what anybody says. I still don't think it's right to put a 5 or 6 win team in the college football playoff over teams who have played 10 or 11. Sure, you can't punish Ohio State for only playing 5 or 6, but you also can't punish the other teams just because, if that's the case, if they're just going to get in because they're Ohio State, then those other teams just all need to cancel their football programs and just say, forget it. If I'm Cincinnati, I say, screw it, I'm out. Forget it. Like that. That's demoralizing to those programs. I think it's more demoralizing to a Cincinnati to have that happen than it would be to Ohio State to be told you didn't get enough games and to get in. Better luck next year. That's kind of where I'm at with that.
Yeah, I'm with you. I totally understand that. I totally get it. I've always been a proponent of, there's a reason why you play the games, and there's a reason why, X, Y, and Z happen. You can't just go to a season assuming that these teams are the best teams and they're going to make the playoff and everything like that. You got to play the games out. You got to see what happens throughout the season. And in a normal year, the regular season is the most exciting part of the year. But I think this year it's all about trying to get to the finish line. It's all about trying to see who's going to make it to the college football playoff and see if that can be some excitement, because this year, for me personally, it hasn't been fun. The waiting for Ohio State to kick off, the cancellation of so many games, the postponement of so many games, the juggling of schedules. I mean, shoot, you look at what's going on with the ACC, Florida State, they canceled like back-to-back games, and then they thought their season was over, and then the ACC said, no, you guys are going to play Duke and Wake Forest still. Yep. You know, so like the schedule wasn't even the schedule, you know. The schedule in September has changed. Like, it's just so much juggling, and we heard about the Big Ten potentially doing that with Ohio State to make sure they get 6 games in. It's just so much. It's very overwhelming.
So here's the deal. The other thing that I'm hearing a lot of criticism of, and I'm always interested in what people are saying about Ohio State and the Big Ten, because I'm always wondering how SEC fans feel when they hear Big Ten fans rip their conference. So I'm always interested and curious how we feel about other fans ripping our conference. The Big Ten, you have our fan base who is saying the Big Ten it would be irresponsible of them not to find a way to force Ohio State in. And then you have the outsiders who are saying that's a damn joke for the Big Ten to bend the rules just to get Ohio State in. What is the right way of looking at that? And I say this because people are like, that's a dumb question. Of course the Big Ten needs to get Ohio State in. Let's reverse it. If the SEC was finagling some stuff to force Alabama in, we would be screaming from the rooftops about it, right? Mm-hmm. So what's actually right? What's actually wrong here? Because I keep hearing about what's fair. Well, nothing's fair about any of this. I'm just torn. I'm like, I want Ohio State in, but I also, if people want to talk about the sanctity of the competitiveness of athletics, to me, finagling things just to get your team in, just to get them in, that's wrong to me. I'm just not okay with the Big Ten bending rules or changing rules as we go to benefit Ohio State. The same rules that we wouldn't have changed for a Wisconsin or Indiana or someone else. That's the problem I have. Jeff Snook yesterday, him and I didn't go back and forth. We just had a back and forth on Facebook about this. He said how absolutely foolish the Big Ten was to have the proposal of, to have a minimum game proposal. He said that was absolutely foolish. I said, it's actually not foolish. It's only foolish because the worst case, like the Big Ten has horrible luck, by the way, because the absolute worst case scenario that could have happened is happening.
Right.
Like, it's not, there's other teams who are missing games, but like Wisconsin, that's a hell of a program. That's a hell of a team. They've been impacted by the coronavirus. The Big Ten wasn't talking about changing rules for them back when they were missing 2 weeks in a row. Mm-hmm. Okay, then they finally come back and lose the game, and I'm just going to say they lost a game because their season hasn't been consistent enough for them to get enough consistent reps, and for them to keep getting better each week. Boom. We're not changing rules for them. We're doing it because it's Ohio State. We would be furious if the SEC was doing that for Alabama. So I told Jeff Snook last night, we're talking to him about this in our back and forth. I said, the Big Ten was not wrong for having a minimum game proponent to this. I said, because there was not a bulletproof plan for any of this. For instance, had you done the winning percentage? Kev, what happens, and you and I talked about this yesterday, let's say Indiana is 8-0 and Ohio State's 6-0, and that one of the games that was canceled for Ohio State was that Indiana game. Mm-hmm. Well, then Indiana would get in because they have more wins, right? And we would be screaming from the rooftop about that. Like, we would be mad at that. My point is that there was not a bulletproof plan for this. There was always going to be a chance of something like this happening, and the Big Ten is just more unfortunate than any other conference because the worst case scenario is presenting itself. Not just a playoff team potentially getting knocked out, but a national championship contender, and that's really what this all comes down to.
I definitely think they needed to have a baseline of games played to be eligible for the championship. Like, I think that's I think that's pretty reasonable to say, all right, man, you got to at least play X amount of games to be eligible. Like, they say that for in NBA basketball, like, you got to play X amount of games to be the NBA scoring leader. You know, a guy can't sign a 10-day contract at the end of the NBA regular season and then go on a scoring barrage and average 50 points. He's not eligible to say, yeah, he's the NBA's leading scorer. You got to have some type of baseline to be eligible for the playoff. Now, whatever number that was, they came up with that number. We can agree with it, we can disagree with it. But the thing about it is, this conference should be doing these type of things to make sure they get somebody in the playoff, because that brings in the conference more revenue. There's no mystery why the ACC has made sure that Clemson and Notre Dame get a bye week before the ACC championship game. They both they switched their schedule around so Clemson could have a bye week before that, because they were going to have to replay that Florida State game that got canceled. So the ACC juggled it around. Like, all right, fine. You guys need a bye week to get an ACC championship. Cool. You and Notre Dame, you guys play your last regular season game this week. You get a bye week, ACC championship. Guess what, Florida State? You got to play these two other random opponents, because we're going to get our money. And we're going to try to get two teams in the playoff, because the ACC is rooting for Clemson to win by 7 points. So Notre Dame can get it there so they can get more money. It is absolutely what they should be doing as a conference. All these conferences work independently of one another. It's not up to the Big Ten, SEC, Big 12, Pac-12 to make sure it's fair for everybody. Because if it was fair for everybody, people will be saying, oh, man, we got to take care of the Cincinnati Bearcats. Oh, we got to take care of the Bowling Green Falcons. Nobody's saying that. They're only taking care of their own. And it's been evident for the longest time. And it was no more evident than when it happened over the summer when the Big Ten decided to, quote unquote, cancel their season. And all the other conferences said, peace, we're playing.
Yep.
And then the Big Ten had to come back and jump back into the fray, because they kept playing and they weren't playing and they got bombarded in the media. So they came back. So all these conferences work independently, and they have to do what they deem is right, not only for the conference, but for the conference, the team members. And it brings in a lot of revenue. So I personally don't have an issue with anything that the Big Ten is doing to finagle trying to get somebody into the championship game. I don't fault the ACC for what they're doing. That's business. That's how they get down. And I know it's a simple way of thinking, but Ohio State, you win, you don't have anything to worry about.
I disagree, because if I'm the Big Ten,
in a normal situation, in this year with COVID, there's everything to worry about.
Well, the reason I say I disagree is because we act like a Big Ten Ohio State champion should guaranteed to be in, but I'm sorry, a 11-0 American Conference champion versus a 5-0 Big Ten champion, or a 6-0 Big Ten champion, to sit there and ignore that Cincinnati played 5 extra games I think that is absolutely insane. And I have been anti-Cincinnati all season. But to be fair, I've been against Cincinnati all season on an equal playing ground, assuming that everyone's resumes would be similar in the amount of games played, conference champions, that type of thing. But if Ohio State only gets 6 games in, and like, let's say the Big Ten says, okay, no more minimum rule. Ohio State, you're in the Big Ten title game. You win the Big Ten championship. You're 6-0 with the Big Ten, because let's say they play this week to get to 5-0. Michigan game gets canceled. The Big Ten panics, changes the rule. Ohio State's in the Big Ten title game. They win. So they're a 6-0 Big Ten champion. Super. You have an 11-0 American Conference. You have an American Conference champion. You have Florida, who could potentially be a one-loss SEC champion. Mm-hmm. What do you do? I'm telling you right now, folks, to act like finagling the rules to get Ohio State into the Big Ten title, to act like that they're a lock. They're not a lock, because they're already at 4. And why are they at 4? Because they've played less games than everybody else. Right. So if that's already being put into consideration, if you were the College Football Playoff Committee, how can you keep Ohio State at 4 the entire time because they haven't played enough games, but then not use the amount of games played as a criteria for judging between them and someone else to get that 4th and final spot? That's why I'm not anti-Buckeye here. I'm just trying to point out that there are a lot more concerns than just acting like we can't be arrogant enough to act like, oh, well, all we got to do is just get in the Big Ten title game. To be a 6-0, while everyone else is 10, 11, 12-0, that's still not good. And it's still a bad look for the committee to put a 6-0 team in over an 11-0 team who's also a conference champion, especially when the quality of opponents that Ohio State's played have been absolute garbage as well.
I did what you're saying. I totally get it. I'm with you 100%. I just think that as us, as Big Ten, and well, I'm not a Big Ten fan, I'm an Ohio State fan. As Buckeye fans here, we need to be huge Indiana fans for the rest of the regular season. Obviously, they're without their star quarterback for the rest of the year, Michael Penix Jr. We need to be big fans of that team going forward. We need that win to carry Ohio State, because if you look at UC's schedule, they have Tulsa coming up, who's ranked, and then they follow up playing Tulsa again in their conference championship game. But also on their resume, they have victories over UCF. Now, people may say, "Oh, UCF, they're not any good." Well, UCF, they were undefeated a couple years ago, and they still a pretty good team. If you look at how you brought up the other day about the opponents that Ohio State played, the record is trash. You know what I'm saying? We know how good Ohio State is on paper, and we saw what they were last year, and we think that they're as good as they are last year. This year, we expect them to be, but like, is it that good? Is it better, that much better than UC's resume? I don't know if their Ohio State's resume is that much better than UC's resume.
No, and by the way, look what BYU did this weekend.
Oh,
by the way, Cincinnati should have done that. Cincinnati should have jumped on that game before BYU, because Cincinnati needs another, like, they have Tulsa coming up. Like, well, they're off this weekend.
I thought it was this weekend. I think
Are they off this weekend?
I think it's Tulsa this weekend, off, then Tulsa again.
Yeah, because they only had two of the final 4 weeks.
Last weekend they were out because of COVID.
Yeah, because they only played 2 of the final 4 weeks of the regular season, which is why I was like, that's a concern to me. It should be a concern to everybody if you're a fan of the Bearcats. I'm trying to go through the schedule now to see where they're at. But nonetheless, I mean, look, it's going to be interesting. As of right now, again, if you're just tuning in, it's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Ohio State, Michigan State still on for a noon kickoff on ABC on Saturday, I'm sorry. So keep an eye on that. You have Texas A&M and Auburn, Oklahoma State, TCU, North Carolina, and Western Carolina. Marshall, number 21, has Rice. I mean, look, this isn't a sexy lineup this weekend either. You do what was supposed to be a good game in Alabama and LSU. Obviously, no longer the case there. Michigan and Maryland canceled. That's the one to keep an eye on. Northwestern and Minnesota canceled. Kent State, Miami of Ohio canceled. There's a lot of canceled games this coming up weekend. But I do not see Cincinnati.
You're right. You're right. It's next week.
They don't play. Yeah, I was like, I don't see them on the schedule.
It's Tulsa next week. Yeah,
so, like, BYU's doing everything they can. I don't think a win over a top 25 team this weekend really helps BYU. I mean, it helps them move up in the rankings. I don't think they're all of a sudden going to jump over Cincinnati at that point. But this is why, Kev, if I was Cincinnati and I'm looking at what's going on with Ohio State, smelled blood in the water, I would have jumped on that in a heartbeat. The Bearcats missed out on an opportunity here, and BYU, good for them for jumping on it, but Cincinnati should have jumped on that, Kev, because had they got a top 25 win this weekend and then beat top 25 Tulsa in 2 weeks and win an American Conference team, I'm sorry, Buckeye fans, Cincinnati, who I already think might get the rub over the Buckeyes if it comes down to that, if Ohio State only has 6 games full, for the rest of the year, that's my concern, Kev, moving forward. Cincinnati should have put their boot on the throat of the Buckeyes at number 4 and went for that this weekend. Very surprised they did it.
That's very fair. That's very fair. To be totally fair about it, though, I don't know how the American Conference is about playing out of conference.
That's what Shaw just said. Shaw just said they may not have been allowed by the conference,
because that's what, when BYU tried to schedule the game against Washington, Pac-12 said no because they're only playing in conference opponents. So I don't know.
By the way,
but that is so cool that, like, they anytime, anywhere mentality. Both these teams took on, obviously Liberty's dealing with COVID issues. So Coastal Carolina had a open opponent. So BYU dialed them up and they're playing. That is cool. I like that.
You know what I said? Me and Jason Fitz, the week you were gone, it was last week. Him and I talked about this. We thought how cool it was that a lot of these teams are going to have openings on the back end of the schedule to be able to add games. And I said, if I'm a Cincinnati every year knowing, or a Cincinnati or a UCF or a team like that, if I know every year that I'm going to be penalized at the back end of my schedule for an opponent that's not as strong as what's going on in the SEC or Big Ten, I leave an extra game. I leave an extra weekend open at the back end of the year and try to add a game late. And because it could be a top 25 opponent. It could be someone out of the Big Ten that's like a Northwestern. If Northwestern's looking to add another top 25 opponent to try to help bolster themselves, I'm using Northwestern. Wisconsin could do the same thing if they're really like. There was a few years ago where Wisconsin, when they lost to Ohio, it was the year that Ohio State made the playoff, and when they lost to Clemson. Well, they've lost to Clemson a few times.
I almost gave you the 31 finger.
OH 31-0. It was the OH 31-0 year. There was talks that year, you remember, where Wisconsin they were undefeated in the Big Ten title game. There was talks of them not getting into the playoff even if they were an undefeated Big Ten champion. So there are scenarios like that where Cincinnati could benefit from maybe looking at a Wisconsin saying, hey, you're going to need an extra top 25 opponent. If Cincinnati with Fickell is as good as consistently as what we're anticipating, I leave that extra weekend open at the back end every year moving forward if I'm Cincinnati to add games like this.
Man, them big time schools ain't gonna do that, man.
But I use that Wisconsin example because Wisconsin desperately needed another top 25 win that year to help bolster their resume going into the Big Ten because Wisconsin beat nobody that entire year. They didn't have one top 25 win the entire stretch going into the Big Ten title game, and then they lost to Ohio State. But had they beat Ohio State, their resume still, even with the win over Ohio State, would not have been good enough to get into the college football playoff that year. So that's why I'm saying that is like there are going to be scenarios that present themselves like that. But
I look at it like
it's like the bracket busters. It was like the bracket busters.
Yeah. I look at it like how college basketball is. Like some of these big time schools aren't going to be willing to. But you can barely get these big time schools to schedule UCF and UC on a regular basis.
Yep.
I don't think they're going to gamble at the back end of a regular season. Like, I mean, shoot, if you're, I don't name your random SEC team that's like middle of the pack, like, I don't know, Auburn, like they're not agreeing to play UC. They're like, man, we're not about to help you get to the national championship game and get my coach fired. Like I just don't think it's feasible to view it that way. I think this is an odd year and everything's on the table. Like that's just how flexible. Lots of conferences are being flexible. BYU's being flexible. Coastal Carolina's flexible. That's the game of the week right there, man. 5:30 ESPNU. Coastal Carolina and BYU.
No, it's not.
2020, baby.
No, it's not.
What's the game of the week?
Not that.
What's the game of the week?
I'll watch a canceled Michigan team play before I watch that.
You crazy. These teams are better than Michigan.
No, they're not. Michigan beats Coastal Carolina.
Will they?
But Michigan probably beats BYU. I'm not sold on either of those teams. I'm telling you, Cincinnati, put them on a field with one of these teams who are struggling at the back end.
This is the game of the week.
You will see it in a bowl game because these guys ain't playing in the playoff. Just saying. Resume-wise, I'm all for Cincinnati, but talent for talent, stop. I'm not going there.
Tell that to Rutgers that they went to 4 overtimes with.
Who?
Michigan went to 4 overtimes with Rutgers.
I'm not saying Michigan's great. I'm just saying.
Hey, man, it's game of the week, man.
I had to put money. If BYU,
that's like the only ranked matchup of the week.
I'll take a lot more. I mean, I'll take Alabama versus LSU over that.
Oh, my goodness. Nobody wants to watch that, man. It's going to be a bloodbath.
I do. I just said so. I will be watching.
You're lying.
I'll be watching.
You're lying.
I am not. Like, that game has, for one, I only watch teams that have a chance to make the playoff. That's why I'm not interested in these.
Oh, the elitist.
You know.
The elitist.
No. All right. We'll be back.
Well.
Let's switch gears here. When we come back, we're going to be joined by Cincinnati Reds pitcher Tejay Antone. We're going to talk about his recapping his rookie season as well as looking back at the crazy season that was for your Cincinnati Reds. Reds pitcher Tejay Antone joins us next.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, right here on ESPN 1410 Wing AM.
Roosters would like to thank all of our loyal guests and all the loyal Buckeye fans for your support this year. Because of you, we've been able to stay open and keep our award-winning team employed. Our team members go above and beyond and are dedicated to providing you and your family the safest dining experience possible while still providing a fun, casual atmosphere to relax, laugh, and enjoy our award-winning food. Roosters, the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
The spread of COVID-19 is still unchecked across the nation, and you need to keep your family safe. Make a new habit and check your temperatures twice a day, once before dinner and before leaving home in the morning. You can't afford to take chances, so use the Exergen Temporal Scanner. Its accuracy is backed by more than 80 clinical studies, and it takes an accurate reading in seconds. It's the only home thermometer used and recommended by hospitals, doctors, and nurses. Quick and easy to use. You can count
any longer. You know it's time for a bathroom upgrade by Bath Creations. Bath Creations, serving the greater Dayton and Cincinnati area, is a leader in bathroom renovations, providing the best value in bath and shower remodeling, and proudly made in the USA. With Bath Creations, you get a beautiful modern bathroom that is safe, comfortable, and affordable. Attention first responders, veterans, and active military. Save $500 off your purchase. Visit on Poe Avenue in Dayton or online at mybathcreations.com. And upgrade today.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring for brand new home daily dedicated lanes. Earn up to $1,620 per week. A $2,000 sign-on bonus, medical, dental, vision, company paid life insurance. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com.
My name is Kate Courtley, and this is my new show, Can You Survive This Podcast? I'll be drawing on my years as a former Navy SEAL platoon commander, sniper, and CIA contractor. The show is designed to teach you techniques that will increase your chances of survival if you happen to find yourself or your family in any life-threatening disaster scenario imaginable. Subscribe and listen for free on Spotify. Can You Survive This Podcast?
In a world that still calls for your touch, the U by Moen Smart Faucet answers without it.
Moen, wash my hands.
Only one faucet allows you to create hundreds of presets that deliver the exact amount and temperature you ask for. U by Moen, the only faucet you never have to touch. Water designs our life. Who designs for water?
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Looking for the perfect present? Then head to the perfect place. Stop by your neighborhood Ace and find the best gifts from brands like Steel, Eagle, and Milwaukee, or Traeger, Weber, and Yeti. And to help make sure your gifts are under your tree on time, you can shop in-store, online, or on the Ace app. Pick up in-store, curbside, or get them delivered. Get amazing deals on the best gifts when you wrap it in red at Ace at participating stores.
Big news from Dell Technologies. Cyber Monday's here with deals up to 50% off small business computers with Intel Core processors. Call 877-ASK-DELL or visit Dell.com/SB Cyber Monday.
Dayton Flyers basketball fans, the season is finally here. Don't miss the Talking Out Loud pregame show, hosted by Sully, this Saturday starting at 11 a.m. Live from Timothy's Bar and Grill on Brown Street. The Flyers have a huge non-conference showdown with SMU, and Timothy's Bar and Grill is the place to cheer on your Flyers. The Talking Out Loud pregame show, hosted by Sully, Saturday at 11 a.m. from Timothy's Bar and Grill. Wear red and stay loud. Whether you're at home, at work, or in your car, tune in to ESPN 1410 Wing AM or stream us live at wingam.com.
All right, we welcome you back. Justin Kinner with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Let's get to our next guest and talk a little Cincinnati Reds baseball. We have Cincinnati Reds pitcher Tejay Antone joining us. Tejay, welcome in, man. How are you?
Hey, thank you for having me.
No, I appreciate it. Look, for one, I just want to say congratulations on completing your rookie season. What a season at that. I promise no one ever forgets their rookie year, but you're definitely not going to forget it. You know, kind of playing during a pandemic. I highly doubt you're ever going to forget that.
Oh, man. Yeah, what a year it was. I mean, you're right. It was a crazy year, and all the guys on my team were like, don't even think about this being your rookie year. Like, next year is going to be your rookie year because, you know, some of the fun things that go on with, you know, your rookie year we didn't get to do. So, but yeah, it was still very exciting, and I had a great time.
You know, you've had time to reflect on your rookie season a little bit now. You just touched on it a little bit, but how would you summarize your rookie experience at that? I mean, I know next year you said that your teammates told you, hey, next year's your real rookie year, but how would you summarize everything you went through this season in preparing mentally and physically with all the roadblocks in place due to COVID? Summarize your rookie experience from an individual standpoint and from a team standpoint.
Yeah, so, you know, everyone, you know, didn't know what was going to go on with this year. And I've just learned in life with every, like, setback, there's going to be an opportunity presents itself. Like, that's something my dad always showed me and he told me. And so I knew that with this year and the rosters being extended, there would be an opportunity. And I did not want to miss it. And so during the quarantine when everyone went home after spring training 1.0, I locked it in extra, and I took the time, and I was very meticulous about my training and stayed on top of it. And I had just kind of built off of what I did all off season. I came back into spring training 1.0, and I was throwing a little bit harder, and I was like, dang, I don't want to lose any of this. So I stayed on top of my training, and when I showed up to spring training 2.0, some of those things I had been working on showed up. So personally, like on an individual summary, I felt like I was very pleased with kind of how I did and how like my training kind of showed up, and just like you reap what you sow. I feel like, and I was working my butt off in the off season and in the quarantine, and I feel like I deserved every bit of it. But at the same time, there was a lot to be learned. It was a crazy year. The talent up there is next level. I mean, they always talk about, when you go to the big leagues, it's different, and they're no joke. those hitters don't miss, and your miss zones are very small. And so it was not only a learning experience on the field and against some of those great hitters that I faced, but off the field as well. There's a lot of things that I just learned from, the great pitchers on our team. I mean, everyone on our team was absolutely incredible that I learned from Sonny to Trevor to Amir. I mean, literally every pitcher. I threw with Robert Stevenson every day. I mean, just every single Lucas Sims, every single pitcher on our team. I was trying to learn from, and everyone has something special that they bring to the table, and I did not want to miss out on any of it. So I was all ears, and it was really fun on the team aspect. We knew we had 60 games, and we knew that we had a chance. We knew we had a special team. It was a little rocky off the start. We started falling behind, but we caught some wind, and we went, and we just went for it. And you know what? We made the playoffs, and that was great. It was first time in I forget how many years, quite a few years, and it wasn't the outcome we expected. We were kind of the hot, streaky team, the big ball team, hitting a lot of home runs. And we had a couple, two bad games, and that happens. But, I'm excited going forward. This is a really exciting team, and as you can see, there's a lot of moves being made. But I think there's some special things kind of moving along with the Reds right now.
Yeah, and what's funny is you said, it's no joke when they say, "Oh man, when you get to the big leagues, those guys, they're tough outs." Well, let's take me back to your debut, because look, I mean, when you come out of the bullpen, a lot of times you're not coming into a clean cut situation. A lot of times you're coming in with runners on base, trying to get your starter out of a jam. But you had to really get your starter out of a jam. You made your debut in early season, late July, which sounds strange. So talking about baseball, early season, late July. But you come in against the Cubs early season, and you come in in the second inning to relieve Wade Miley. Walk me through that. At what point throughout that game did you start realizing, oh man, I might have to be the one that comes in to clean up this mess, and you're going to be responsible for more than just an inning or two? At what point did that become the reality for you watching that game?
Yeah, so I knew my role. I'm the cleanup guy, and I knew that I had the ability to go extra innings. And so I was down at the bullpen, and I was paying attention, and his first inning was a little rough, and our bullpen coach looked over at me, and he was like, "Hey, it's you if something happens." And I was like, "Oh God." And so I was a little freaking out, and then it was all good as he got out of the first inning, and then went to the second inning, and I could kind of tell he wasn't feeling good. So as soon as I started warming up, before they even called down there, I knew what was about to happen. And so I was warming up, I was getting ready, just making sure I was kind of over prepared instead of under prepared. And they called down, and sure enough, it was me, and I was ready to rock. And at that point, I was just kind of blacked out. I just don't really remember anything warming up wise. I felt like I was probably throwing 105 in the bullpen warming up. And I actually, so all the teammates, all the other bullpen guys were down there, and the gate opened, and I ran onto the field, and I was kind of getting dizzy, and I jogged down. Actually, jogged to the cut of the grass, and I actually almost I almost passed out. Because I had just jogged, and I was had emotions coming from every facet of my body, and I kind of had to. I was like, whoa, there's no fans here either, and I was kind of getting dizzy, and I had to start walking and slowing down my breathing, and just kind of those typical things And then David gave me the ball, and he was like, let's get out. It's like, this is all that matters. And so I got first pitch was, again, probably 150 miles an hour. And then after that, I was like, you know what? This is just baseball. Like, I've been here before. It's the same distance. It's the same thing. I hit the first batter, and I started freaking out. I was like, oh, God, this is not how I want to start my big league career. Just, like, first pitch ball, guys, hit the first batter. And the second batter, he almost hit a home run dead center. It was a warning track pop out. And after that, after I came into the dugout, I was like, man, that wasn't as bad as I thought. And went out for the second inning, and I just kind of started cruising. I hit my gear, and I was just cruising. Rizzo got me late. He's a great hitter. But, against the Cubs, it was, a great team this year. It was really exciting. I faced a lot of good hitters. It was, like I said, it was very nerve-wracking up front. But once I started getting going, it's the same thing. It's just baseball. And I loved it. And I couldn't. Reliving that moment right there, just talking about it, kind of got my emotions going a little bit just thinking about it. But it was a great time. Great teammates, supported me along the way, and I can't thank everyone enough for that opportunity.
That's awesome, man. We have Reds pitcher Tejay Antone with us here on the Justin Kinner Show on 1410 ESPN Radio. Now, this being your rookie season, we saw a lot of innings from you, in relief work. We got to see a few starts out of you. When the Reds look at you, what do they see? And when you look at yourself, what do you see? What is your role? Are you a relief guy moving forward? I mean, obviously, maybe not next season, but big picture. Do you want to get into the rotation? What is your career outlook as far as how you view yourself from a pitching role standpoint?
Yeah, I want to be a number one. I want to be a number one starter. That's always been my goal. Obviously, whatever the Reds need from me, I'll be the jack of all trades. As long as that keeps me on the field, I want to help this team win. So that's kind of how they use me this year. And I understand, being a rookie, that's kind of your role. Like, hey, start here, relieve here. And I prepared my body for that. I was ready for that. And I'm glad. In a way, I'm kind of glad it was a 60-game season. Because it is tough to kind of keep your body going on those different roles for long periods of time. But like I said, I want to be a starter. I want to be a number one. That's my goal. That's what I want to be. I want to follow Bauer's shoes, and I want to be a Cy Young. I want to make an All-Star team every year. That's the goal. I want to play for 15 years and do that. So I see myself being a starter. But like I said, anything the team needs, I'll do it.
You mentioned Trevor Bauer, and what a fantastic! I mean, he's just a lightning rod, man. He's one of the most polarizing stars in baseball right now. You think back to the history of the Cincinnati Reds. I mean, all those great teams that they have had. The Big Red Machine, all the World Series, teams that they have had. They've never had a pitcher win a Cy Young until this past season with Trevor Bauer, and you were, a part of that season. You got to work with him and pitch with him. I'm just curious, what was that like? What separates him from all the other pitchers that you've worked with? And what did you learn from him? Because he's a guy that he fascinates me because he loves to teach the game too. He loves that aspect of it. So what did you learn from him? What are some Trevor Bauer stories you can give us?
Yeah. So obviously going in as a rookie, to give the veterans their space and let them do their jobs. But Trevor was really cool to me this year. He took the time to really walk me through some outings that I had and teach me through them. And, when I remember one specific outing, I was facing the White Sox, and I had I had given up, I think I threw a first pitch slider, and he took it for a strike, and I threw a second pitch slider, and he swung and missed, just looked absolutely ridiculous. And then it was 0-2, and I went fastball. I tried to go fastball up, and gave up a double off the wall and gave up a run. And he came over to my locker after the game and was like, what were you thinking here? Pitch by pitch, what were you thinking? And so I was walking him through it, and he was like, why did you throw that pitch? And he really took the time to actually explain to me what I should be watching and why I should be throwing certain pitches and where I should be throwing certain pitches. And I think we ended up losing that game because of that. I believe, if I'm correct. And it was just really cool to kind of have that veteran move to take that, rookie under your wing and really take the time out of his day. He didn't have to say anything to me at all. He could be like, yeah, figure it out yourself. And it was really cool to have him, step to the side and give me those insights here and there. But yeah, Trevor, that's, kind of a personal story, but stepping back and looking at him more of just watching him on a daily basis, man, he is very, very meticulous about his work. he tracks everything. Like every single thing he does, he tracks. He writes it down every single day. He's tracking his shoulder strength, his internal external rotation, like mobility, his jumping, like how high he jumps every single day. Like he's tracking everything. Sleep, his eating, like it's very, very meticulous work what he's doing, and he's very calculated with his moves. And some of that can be overkill. You go to a pitcher like Sonny Gray, and he's just, go get her. Like, I'm going to punch him out. I don't really care how I feel. I'm just going to punch him out. And that's a cool mentality on the mound you need to have. But it's also really cool to see the other side of it, where he's very calculated with his moves and strategic and how he's going about his day and his bullpens, and not just throwing a bullpen. He's throwing a very, 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 like I said, meticulous and thought out bullpen. And, it was cool to kind of watch that throughout the whole season. On a personal level, I kind of wish he would come back so I could learn more from him. And I think the team could use him, but I hope the best for him, and I'm sure he'll find a phenomenal team and he'll help someone else. Hopefully for him, win a World Series. That'd be really cool.
Last thing, TJ, and I'll let you go. I mean, you've given me plenty of time today. I appreciate it. But, I feel like for you being a young pitcher, that's the one thing, the Trevor Bauer effect is going to go on further than this year. And I'm with you, by the way. I'm counting, I'm praying, to every heaven out there that the Reds find a way to bring him back. But, when I've been watching this rebuild for a while, and a lot of the young pitchers who were in your role, who were, being thrown out into the fire a little bit, they didn't have those veteran guys to really look at. And that's no disrespect to those guys, because, Bronson Arroyo and some others who were brought in late, they've put in the work, but they weren't the same animal they were when they were in their prime. You got to see these veteran greats in their prime right now and learn from them here. I feel like that's where you and a lot of these current young Reds pitchers are going to have that advantage moving forward, that maybe some of the other guys like Michael Lorenzen and others who have taught themselves and put themselves in great position now moving forward, they maybe didn't have that opportunity early in their careers the way you did. I think that's what's going to be the interesting thing moving forward, is seeing what you guys take from what you've learned from these veterans and putting it into your aspect of preparing for games moving forward.
Absolutely. Yeah, Lucas Sims is another one. He's fresh in the league, and man, he has just made strides left and right. He is a learner, and he's always seeking knowledge, and he's the same way. He'll take information from anyone to make himself better, and that's really cool. And I appreciate these veterans that are taking the time to teach us rookies how to do it. And like you said, there are other rookies that didn't get that time with them, or made sure they kind of stuck that and taught themselves. And it is what it is. Some people have that ability to learn and take the time and teach rookies, and some people they don't. They just do their job, and that's cool too. It is what it is. But I'm very appreciative of some of these veterans and that are taking the time to teach us rookies. It means a lot I know it means a lot to me, and I'm sure it means a lot to some of the other rookies.
All right, TJ, send us out with this. What's next? I mean, because when we talk about the pandemic, you got to experience a full regular type of spring training last year. Maybe it got cut short at the end, I believe, but you got to experience the full, mentally preparing for spring training, packing up, heading to spring training, pitching in spring training games. Obviously, it was cut short last year. We don't know what the future holds for this spring training coming up. What are you hearing? How are you preparing? What has this offseason been like for you? Because just because the season ended, it didn't mean that the pandemic ended. How has that impacted how you, your teammates, and your coaches, managers, and everything communicated throughout this offseason?
Yeah, business as usual for me. Yeah, we're getting ready. They haven't said anything about fans specifically coming, or from what I know, it's business as usual. I'm showing up to camp on time, which is early February, and I'm taking my off season just as normal, and I'm getting prepared, mentally prepared, working on things that I suck at, and fine tuning the things that I'm good at. And I'm excited to kind of debut in front of fans and finally actually get those fans. I'm so excited to have my family out and watch games. So that's kind of what I'm most excited about, is just for my family to come watch me. But also I miss the fans, man. I've been trying to communicate with a lot of them on Instagram and keep up with that. And I appreciate everyone that's reaching out and kind of followed me throughout the year. And but yeah, I'm interested. I can't wait to kind of see people face to face, and I hope this pandemic goes away so we can kind of get life back to normal. And because I really do enjoy the fan face to face and getting to know people, and just kind of they're there for us, and we're there for them. I feel like it's a great relationship. So business as usual for me.
All right, Cincinnati Reds pitcher Tejay Antone, awesome enough to hang out with us here today. TJ, you the man. Thank you so much. Again, congratulations on the great rookie season. I'm excited for what's ahead for you in this Reds team. Last year was fun. All things considered, it was fun. And to build on that's going to be exciting to follow and watch moving forward. Thank you again. Take care. Stay healthy.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. Anytime.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Progressive presents The Sounds of the Old World. The year is 2019, and someone is waiting for the previews to start in a movie theater.
Hey, you want anything? Popcorn? Soda? No, nothing.
This has been The Sounds of the Old World. Brought to you by Progressive, where drivers can still switch and save like it's 2019.
Quote today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
It's not every day you have to replace a water heater, more like every 10 years. The Home Depot can help with a wide selection of the latest models from Rheem and a helpful online water heater buying guide to help make choosing the right Rheem easy. From gas to electric, tankless, even smart models that can spot a leak before it happens. Water heaters have come a long way. You don't have to. Go to HomeDepot.com to find the latest Rheem water heaters and helpful answers and advice from our water heater buying guide. Only from the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
Advance is helping you get your engine ready for the road this holiday season with the right oil, the right filter, at the right price every day. Get 5 quarts of full synthetic Mobil 1, Valvoline, Castrol Edge, or Pennzoil Platinum with the Mobil 1 oil filter for just $33.99. Plus, this holiday season, get a $25 NBA store gift card and 2 times Speed Perks points instantly with the purchase of 5 quarts of Mobil 1. Advance your auto at Advance Auto Parts and participating CarQuest locations. See store for details.
Allstate now has deeper savings, and deeper savings require deep thoughts and a deep voice, like mine. Save for being a new customer. Save more for adding DriveWise, and save even more for driving safely. Visit Allstate.com or contact your local agent for a quote today. As someone once said, saving today is money tomorrow. That's deep.
Not available in every state. New customer savings based on early signing discount. DriveWise is an optional feature. Savings vary based on how you buy. Subject to terms and conditions. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
It's time for some straight talk. Look, we all drop our phones. It happens. You fumble it, crack it, splash it. Well, Straight Talk Wireless now offers this new Platinum Unlimited plan that includes phone protection. Just $65 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data, plus 20 gigs of hotspot, 100 gigs of cloud storage, and more. All on the best network. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise. See Mobile Protect terms and conditions at Asurion.com/Straight Talk. Limitations and exclusions apply.
All those mouths to feed. So many different cravings. In a world filled with endless dinner options, lives a family ravaged by hunger. The answer lies with one man. No, not just a man, a king, a pizza king. Get a large Casano's Deluxe Pizza for $15.99 or a large pepperoni for just $12.99. Call 294-KING and see for yourself why the proof is in the taste. Pizza King.
If you need to hire, you need Indeed. Get quality candidates delivered from Indeed's resume database immediately when you upgrade your job post. Learn more at Indeed.com/credit.
Hey everybody, it's Stephen A. Smith, and everyone knows my feelings on Cowboys fans. But really, Justin Kinner, you're a Cowboys fan and a Browns fan? Good Lord have mercy. I don't know what the hell to do with y'all. I really don't.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio. All sports, all the time. This is 1410 ESPN Radio. We are Dayton's home of the Ohio State Buckeyes.
And into the end zone goes Chris Olave. K.J. Hill, 6-yard touchdown catch. Right sideline and down he goes to the end zone.
WING 1410 Dayton, Dayton's ESPN Radio. It's the Justin Kinner Show, live here on ESPN Dayton, 1410 Wing AM. Tweet the show at 1410 Kinner or give us a call at 457-9464. We now send you to the Wing Studios in Kettering. Here's your host, Justin Kinner.
Hey, the camera's working again. There's that.
Your camera or my camera?
Both, unfortunately, for the people out there. Kevin's was fine the whole time, but mine is back to working. So sorry about that. We welcome you back. How about Tejay Antone? I'm not going to lie, I'm a big fan of his now. I mean, that was a fun interview to do. I love that he was so open and kind of taking us behind the scenes a little bit. Those are my favorite interviews, when they give you like good detail. Like, I don't like interviewing players when they just kind of give you I'm just going to keep working hard, give it my best, the Kev Nash approach, right? And I'm like, half the time, like, that's why player interviews usually aren't that great, mainly during the season. But like, I loved when he was sharing the story about how it was late July. We were joking because I said, late July, early season. That sounds weird to say, but because that's when the season obviously started, the delayed start 60-game season. But when he started taking us behind the scenes, telling us about how there he is watching Wade Miley struggle in the second inning and gets taken out, and how he says literally, because think about it, when you're making your debut, you're making, like, we just look at these athletes as just robots. Like, and they look so like they have it together on TV. Mm-hmm. Like, I watched that game. I watched Tejay Antone come in that game. I never would have guessed that the dude was about to pass out. He said he literally had to stop himself at the lip of the grass because he kept getting dizzy, and he was about to hyperventilate because he was just so taken back by the moment. Like, he was so excited. He said he had the adrenaline. He went sprinting out of the bullpen. He had to stop in the middle of the outfield to catch his breath because he was just like, oh my God, I need to calm down. This is just, He plunks the first batter he faces. So him just sharing that about how, him trying to like acclimate himself a little bit going up onto the mound was pretty cool. The Trevor Bauer stuff was pretty neat too. I beat up on Trevor Bauer. Sometimes there's so many bad managers in baseball that I'm like, you know what? If there's ever a sport out there that could pull off a player manager now, a player coach role, baseball could do it. Trevor Bauer, I would love to do it. Did you hear the story? So Trevor Bauer, it was a game that Antone just shared the story, but he said that he had a bad pitch selection one game, and that Bauer, instead of leaving, because some starters just leave the game right away and they leave and they'll come back out, but the second the game's done, they bolt. He purposely waited around till the end of the game to meet with him and just pick his mind and say, basically not just say, hey man, here, hold the ball this way or, turn your wrist this way. He literally wanted to talk about the mentality of the decisions he made. It wasn't about how to throw a pitch. It wasn't, those things. It was, so why did you throw this pitch? Walk me through it. So what was your mindset? Like, he literally sat him down and he goes, that was like the most in-depth conversation I've had, even with a pitching coach. And I said, that fascinates me as much as I beat up on Trevor Bauer because his antics drive me nuts. But like, I love those stories. Like those. So that interview, I absolutely loved every bit of it. If you missed it, we're going to have it up at wingam.com. You can also subscribe and download the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash in your Apple iTunes and Google Play Store. That interview will be there. But I learned a lot about Trevor Bauer behind the scenes because all I see is the look at me guy on social media. But I love the fact that, he said, here I am as a rookie. We're told to just stay out of the veterans' way, and if they want to mess with you, they'll mess with you. And he seeked him out. And I was like, that's cool. I've talked about this, too, that when you talk about rebuilding teams, the reason it's important to still spend money on veteran guys like Trevor Bauer, like the Reds could have been out of contention. I still think my philosophy is going to change moving forward. If you are a bad rebuilding team, I still think it's very important to always have a high-paid pitcher like a Trevor Bauer, someone on your roster, of someone who's trying to compete every single day. Because you need to have someone that these young guys can look at and say, that's how you do it. I told TJ in the interview, I said, I feel like you younger pitchers like Lucas Sims and himself and others, they are going to be a lot further along in their development because they get to watch guys like Sonny Gray and Trevor Bauer, not just veteran arms, but in their prime arms. Yeah. The Reds, they brought in, Bronson Arroyo. Well, I love Bronson. He's been on the show. But they brought him in well past his prime. So they didn't really get to watch him. They got to watch him, fight injuries. They got to watch him just struggle to get through a few innings here and there. They didn't get to really watch Bronson Arroyo. These young pitchers, Tejay Antone, they're watching Trevor Bauer go to work. They're watching him in his prime. They're watching him position himself to make money. They're watching him position himself to win a Cy Young. They're watching him position himself to compete for the playoffs. Tejay Antone learned more in one season, in one 60-game shortened season with Trevor Bauer than what all of those rookie pitchers did, like Michael Lorenzen and Amir Garrett and those guys. Those guys had no one to look up to when they were coming up. And I think that hurt those guys' development because they had to teach themselves how to, to up their mentality, to up their competitiveness level. That's something that Tejay Antone's not going to have to do because he knows, hey, if I have to fit in with these guys, I have to up my game up. Yeah. And I think that's why I don't like when teams totally blow a roster up because how are the young guys supposed to learn how to win? That's why we see so many young rosters in the NFL and the NBA when they finally, you see that they have the talent, but there's no one there to teach them how to win. LeBron had the talent. there was no one there to show him how to win it, to close games out. Michael needed what? He needed Pippen. He needed some other veteran players. He had his talent was never in question. You just needed some veteran guys. You needed, the Dennis Rodman, who had been through the battles with the Pistons, who had won NBA championships. You needed him to come over so you could get that done. That's the thing that I think rebuilding teams constantly miss out on, is the mindset of, we don't need veteran players who want to win. We need young guys. We need spots for these young guys to figure out what we have. The problem is who's teaching them how to win, because managers and coaches can't do that on the bench.
It's a balance in that. Especially in the NBA and the NFL, where you have that young talent, and then you want to have the winning mentality, but it's a balance in that between winning and losing, and you don't want to be in the middle of the pack, because because when you get veteran players, you're going to end up in the middle of the pack, because being in the middle of the pack, you don't get a lottery pick. You get it back in. So we can't get any better because we can't get that big time guy out of Duke or Kentucky because we're winning too many games, but we're not going to win the East or the West. We're just going to lose in the 7 games in the first round or second round like that. So it's a balancing act, man. I commend all those GMs out there that really know how to make it work. The guy in OKC, you think about what they did at OKC. They drafted KD. They drafted Russell Westbrook. They drafted James Harden. All those guys, they drafted them. They took them to the finals. But then once that money, once they're superstars, they deserve to be paid. And in a salary cap sport, you can't do that. So then you start bringing in veterans to say, all right, we're going to let this younger guy leave so he can get paid, but we're going to plug it in with another veteran player. But that veteran player isn't as good as that younger player that you traded to the Rockets. So that's it's a gamble and shoot.
Coming up around the corner, Urban Meyer to Texas. That talk is really picking up steam. We're going to get into that. By the way, I'm not going to do that whole I told you so thing. I love when people do that. Like when he called in, LeBron to the Lakers, they're going to win an NBA championship. I'm like, well, yeah, that's the expectation. The expectation. If Texas gets Urban Meyer, you should get Urban Meyer. You should go after an Urban Meyer. It'll be a little surprising if he picks Texas himself. But we'll get into that coming up around the corner here in just a few moments. But I found that, that interview fascinating as far as that goes. Tejay Antone, shout out to him. We'll have that interview again coming up for you more later on in the show if you missed it, Reds pitcher. I still don't think the Reds are going to be able to get Trevor Bauer.
I don't think so.
Talking to TJ there, he started doing this tone of man, I just wish him the best. And I hope he, I hope he's here next year, but I just wanted to say that I wish him the best moving forward. To me, I sense that was TJ saying, oh, crap, I'm wording it as if he's not coming back. We know he's not coming back. That sucks.
Mets.
There's just a lot of teams that are going to be spending way more money. They're going to be able to do it unless Trevor Bauer feels like they can win a World Series, which that's why I do believe that. I still think last week when you started hearing the rumblings, how the Reds are really pursuing a Francisco Lindor or a Didi Gregorius or someone like that, I believe that they want to do that. I think that they leaked that to the media, and that's ways of communicating with Trevor Bauer without communicating with Trevor Bauer. Trevor Bauer sitting there, who am I going to sign with? But man, the Reds, if they get Francisco Lindor, maybe, I think, but he's played with Francisco Lindor before. I don't know. I think that it's going to be interesting moving forward. I think that the Reds I'll feel good if they get Lindor. They need
2 bats.
I want them to get Didi more than Lindor.
Okay.
Lindor would cripple the franchise moving forward from a financial standpoint.
The bank.
And by the way, I apologize for using that word. I won't use that word. I hate using that word. I hate when people use that word. I won't use that word again. But it's gonna really hurt that franchise moving forward from a financial standpoint, right? I don't want them to get Francisco Lindor for that reason right there, because I think they're in a win now, short window mode. Trevor Bauer, if he re-signs with the Reds, it'll be on a 1-2 year deal anyways. Yeah. You only have Sonny Gray for another 2 years. You have Eugenio Suarez on a very cheap, team-friendly deal for the next couple years. You only have Moustakas and Castellanos for 2 more years to begin with. So my thinking is Didi Gregorius makes way more sense from that standpoint of Francisco Lindor is looking to be traded and sign a max extension long term. Didi Gregorius, not saying he wouldn't like to be signed long term, but Didi Gregorius is older.
Yeah.
I think the Reds need to make him a priority. Make Didi a priority.
How much left on Votto? How many years?
Through 2023. So they have 2 more years of paying him $25 million.
Get that money, Joey.
Yeah, luckily he's not paid on a per game basis, Aye. So, I'm excited. I think the Reds are still in good shape, but go get Didi Gregorius. That's where I think that it's more realistic because you can get Didi Gregorius without having to pay or give up any prospects.
Oh, breaking news. Sorry. NFL has reinstated Josh Gordon again.
I thought he was already reinstated.
He's eligible to return week 16.
But I thought he was already reinstated. I thought he was already on a team. What the hell's going on? Hold on. At the beginning of the season, for one, if they suspended him for pot, and then they made pot legal a year ago for the NFL, not legal, but they don't test for it anymore, why is he still suspended?
Good question. I think it was marijuana. I think also codeine. I think so.
Oh, for him?
Yeah.
Well, I ain't going to put drugs in the system that I don't know is there. I just know it's about the weed. So the thing is, I mean, okay, he's high. He smoked weed. We vilified him. We made him sound like this absolute horrible person. And then now the NFL comes out and says, yeah, we're not going to test for weed anymore. And now when you ask, well, why is Josh Gordon still suspended? Because he smoked weed.
Stay off the weed.
Do you test for weed anymore? No, we don't. But he's still suspended for smoking weed. Yep. You see how that doesn't make any damn sense if you ask me? I swear I thought he was back on a team. It don't matter. He's one of the most wasted talents in the NFL in quite some time. And I don't mean that like in a just like it's I'm saying that it's in an unfortunate way. That dude found ways to put up numbers on bad Browns teams. Imagine what he could do on good quality teams. You know, that's what's unfortunate. I hope it works. I just don't think he's going to be coming in anywhere being a number one receiver or even a number two.
Man, he's not even 30 yet. He's only 29. He's not 30 until April.
If you're the Browns, do you kick the tires on that?
Again?
Why not? They have an adult as a head coach now.
Okay, that's what it is. That's what it is. He is still on the Seattle Seahawks.
Okay, that's what I thought.
But he was still suspended indefinitely.
Okay, so I wasn't completely wrong. I was like, wait a minute. I thought we've talked about him already. But so that's kind of like the difference between him and Antonio Brown is the team signed him. A team could have signed Antonio Brown before his suspension was up to begin with. They just chose to wait till the suspension. Was that?
Yeah.
Aye. Hey, by the way, why is Carol Baskins trending?
Carol Baskins.
That be Carol Baskins. Carol Baskins apparently at her little tiger resort.
Oh, goodness.
Bit one of her trainers. Well, that's a friendly way of saying she tried to feed the trainer to the tiger. That's exactly what's going on.
Goodness gracious, man. Like, look, man, those type of animals are not pets, man. Like, people that have these exotic animals and snakes and all that type of stuff in their house as pets, like, you got something wrong with you, man. Like, get a cat, get a dog, get something normal, man. Even get a parakeet. But a tiger? Like, those animals deserve to be in the wild doing tiger things, not in your backyard.
Yeah, think of that Cat Williams skit about the koala bears. I'm a vicious ass koala bear. Like, that's the only. The problem with Cat Williams is you can't quote too much of his stuff without not being allowed to say certain words on the air. But yeah, his bit about the tiger in the cage or whatever, he goes, the tiger's the only real mother effer in the whole thing. He goes, he's being the tiger. That's what tigers do. Because I'm gonna eat you over. I love that damn bit when he talks about that, but it's true. Yes, we're gonna punish the tiger for being a tiger. The tiger's doing what tigers do, and yet when humans do what they're not supposed to do, we punish the tiger.
We saw it at the Cincinnati Zoo, where the kid went into the pit with the gorillas and everything like that. Yeah, man, it's crazy out here, man. And had to take him down because
some stupid kid
you in the zoo and messing around with gorillas.
Dumb kid, dumb parents.
Keep an eye on your kid.
Kids are supposed to be afraid of gorillas. That dumb kid try to crawl in there. No, dumb kid.
Yeah,
blame the kid. Here's what it is. Wow. Okay. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. The Cleveland Browns will be in action this Sunday.
Oh, boy.
Here's the deal, though. This is the first Browns game all year that will not be on local TV. So, if you're looking for a place to watch the Browns game, I'm not inviting you to my house. You can go to Frickers on 741 by the Dayton Mall. Justin Kinner, myself, and Keith Byers, we will be hosting the Sunday morning tailgate show live from Frickers on 741 this coming up Sunday, getting you set for the Browns and the Titans. That's one of the biggest games of the week.
That is the game of the week.
I mean, and it's one of those where I think it could. I don't want to talk smack this week. The Browns always
let me down in these weeks. You've been doing it all week.
No, I haven't been talking. No. Talking smack is, they're going to smack the hell out of the Titans. I think they could beat the Titans. I think they could beat the Ravens in 2 weeks. And based on what I saw from your mighty Pittsburgh Steelers yesterday, I think they could beat them too.
That's more like it. That's the Kenner I know.
No. But see, that's not talking smack. You're like the moron on Facebook the other day.
Me?
Yeah. The moron on Facebook the other day said, that's just a hot take. What the hell's the definition of a hot take? What's a hot? Anytime you say something that people disagree with, there's Kenner with a hot take. Well, I said that I believe that the Browns could beat the Titans. That's not a hot take. I don't think that's even a warm take. Folks, the Cincinnati Bengals beat the Titans. I don't think me saying that the Browns can beat the Titans, I don't think that's a hot take. I think that's
you and your transitive properties.
But no, that's key. That's big thesaurus type words for common sense. If that's what you mean by that,
it's not real. Transitive properties is not real.
No, my point is that if they are mentally weak enough to lose to a team like the Bengals, the Browns could beat them. The Browns have talent, and the Browns are more dialed in on their talent right now than what more than half the teams are in the NFL right now who are in the playoff run. Right now, the Titans, they're a run team. The Titans are the Browns, though. That's the thing. Why are we acting like the Titans are so much better than the Browns? I don't believe that they
both
are.
8-3. Let's find out who's better.
Let's talk about this on the other side. The Browns, when we talk about, the Titans are better than the Browns, the Titans are the Browns. They're the same damn team. The quarterback is slightly better. Slightly, not by much, slightly. But they are a mirrored image team. Mirrored image team. What?
Slightly better?
Slightly better, not by much.
Okay.
I mean, I'm just saying. No, I'm done saying. Go to break. When we come back, the school Kev.
Schrody, where you at?
The Titans are the Cleveland Browns. They're not better. The Titans are better than the Cleveland Browns. No. The Titans are the Cleveland Browns. We'll get to that next. Kev, get that stupid look off your face. I'm telling you.
I'm chilling, man. Ain't neither one of them my team.
Here Schrody is. See, he's called.
Yeah, my team just lost another linebacker.
Faker Baker. Kenner, you can come to my house to watch the games so I can laugh in your face.
How's that not a national game? That's the game of the week. That game should be Sunday Night Football. For real. And I'm not even saying that.
What is the Sunday night game?
I have no idea because that game.
Well, just wait till next Wednesday. We'll find out.
Right. Goodness gracious. But for real, that game should be the Sunday Night Football game. Titans and Browns that's the game of the week.
All right, folks, when we come back, the Titans are not better than the Browns. The Titans are the Browns. Next.
Merry Christmas. It's the Justin Kenner Show with Kev Nash right here on ESPN 1410 Wing AM. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be partly to mostly cloudy, a high near 42. Tonight's going to be mostly cloudy with a low around 32. And tomorrow will be partly cloudy with a high near 45. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Want to hear how I almost got off the naughty list this year? I helped Santa save gazillions by having him download Capital One Shopping to his computer. Capital One Shopping instantly searches for available coupon codes and automatically applies them at checkout. You can download it too and save a bundle. You don't even need a Capital One card, and it's free. So why didn't I get off the naughty list? Turns out Santa's a stickler for naughty words. Capital One Shopping. It's kind of genius. What's in your wallet?
Savings and available coupons vary.
Find out what happens when road rage takes a deadly turn. Rent Unhinged, now available at Redbox, starring Russell Crowe. He's a man whose actions escalate to deadly proportions as he becomes single-mindedly determined to teach a divorced mother a lesson after she impatiently honks at him at a red light. Watch Unhinged along with other new movies and make it a Redbox night. Head to one of the 40,000 Redbox locations, stream on your smart TV, or visit redbox.com for all the ways to watch.
Napa know-how.
Right now, get a 5-quart jug of Napa full synthetic motor oil and a platinum filter for just $22.98. They're an iconic duo like salt and pepper, a hammer and a nail, or the holidays and awkward hugs. You can't get one without the other. That's Napa full synthetic and a platinum filter for just $22.98. Quality parts, helpful people. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
General states pricing. Sales prices not include applicable state, local taxes, or recycling fees. Offer ends 12/31/20.
It's time for some straight talk. Look, we all drop our phones. It happens. You fumble it, crack it, splash it. Well, Straight Talk Wireless now offers this new Platinum Unlimited plan that includes phone protection. Just $65 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data, plus 20 gigs of hotspot, 100 gigs of cloud storage, and more. All on the best network. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise. See Mobile Protect terms and conditions at Assurion.com/Straight Talk. Limitations and exclusions apply.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. Welcome to AutoZone, where we've got more ways to get what you need fast and take care of that fall tune-up. With our free same-day store pickup, you can order online and pick it up today at your local AutoZone. Or we can bring it to you with our free next-day delivery. Just order on AutoZone.com by 10 p.m. and we'll have it at your front door the next day. Getting your job done just got easier. Free next-day delivery on eligible orders. Restrictions at AutoZone.com. Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Starting route. Your destination is 0.1 miles away.
If you drive less than
500 feet, turn left. You have arrived at your destination.
if you drive less than 25 miles a day, you could be paying less every day with pay-per-mile car insurance from Allstate. You get the same reliable coverage and hands-on expertise you'd expect from Allstate, but now at a price that's tailored to the miles you drive.
Call your local Allstate agent and start paying what's right for you. Includes a daily rate. Prices vary based on how you buy. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Not applicable in California. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and its affiliates.
When you're stressed, you just don't feel like yourself. New Natrol Relaxia, a full line of drug-free supplements to help you manage occasional stress and anxiety. A special blend of herbals keeps you feeling calm and balanced throughout the day. Because when there's less stress, there's more you. Try new Natrol Relaxia. Learn more at relaxiamood.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Want to hear something amazing? Discover matches all the cash back you earn on your credit card at the end of your first year, automatically, dollar for dollar, with no limit on how much you can earn. Extra cash? Come on, how amazing is that? In fact, it's even more amazing when you realize all the places where Discover is accepted. 99% of places in the U.S. that take credit cards. So when it comes to Discover, get used to hearing yes more often. Learn more at discover.com/yes. 2020 Nielsen Report limitations apply.
Friggin' chicken chunks, friggin' chicken chunks, friggin' chicken chunks, friggin' chicken chunks. $29.99, get you 4 pounds of friggin' chicken chunks. Look at the 4 sauces too. Look at the 4 sauces too. 4 sauces too. 4 sauces too. 4 sauces too. Friggin' chicken chunks.
Ring in the season with 4 pounds of frickin' chicken chunks. Buy a $25 Frickers gift card and get 5 frickin' bonus bucks free. The ho home for fun, food, sports, and spirits is Frickers.
Friggin' chicken chunks, 4 sauces too. Friggin' chicken chunks, 4 friggin' pounds, friggin' chicken chunks.
At Fisher Investments, we do things differently, and other money managers don't understand why.
Because our way works great for us.
But it may not work for your clients. That's why Fisher Investments is a fiduciary, obligated to put clients first. It's the highest standard for a financial advisor.
So what do you provide? Cookie cutter portfolios like the rest of us?
No cookie cutter portfolios here. Fisher Investments tailors portfolios to meet each client's goals and needs.
But you do sell investments that earn you high commissions, right? And make commissions when you make trades for your clients?
No, Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission investment products, and we never earn commissions on trades.
So what's in it for you?
Fisher Investments fees are structured so we do better when our clients do better. When it comes to helping clients achieve a comfortable retirement, we're clearly different. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments, clearly different money management.
Investments in securities involve the risk of loss.
This year, get a gift for the crew and something for you, too. Shop Lowe's in-store or at lowesforpros.com for brands like DeWalt, Metabo, HPT, Yeti, and more. While supplies last, U.S. only.
Don't miss the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
So you want to talk about outliers? Those guys are outliers. You're lucky that this thing's separating us. That's all I got to say. For facts, though. I got your facts right here.
Listen, stream, and now watch. Search the Justin Kinner Show on Facebook to follow along. College football playoffs, Browns, Bengals, Buckeyes, and more. Catch the Keith Fire Show Mondays at noon on 1410 ESPN Radio.
All right, so Kev and I are going to debut a new segment on the show every single day, and this is where we need the listeners' help because you guys can contribute to this. The non-sports headline of the day. the non-sports headline of the day, a headline that you guys catch on social media throughout the day, whether it be a newspaper headline, a news headline, whatever it is, that you just can't seem to wrap your head around. Tweet it into the show at 1410 Kenner or at 1KevNash. So today, and this is at any point, you could be at home on the crapper scrolling through your phone and you come across an article that you're like, oh man, this is perfect for the Justin Kenner Show with Kev Nash's non-sports headline of the day. Today's non-sports headline of the day, like this, what I'm about to read, Beaver Creek should have a plaque that they hang up. I see this in small towns, Van Wert, Ohio, home of Justin Kenner or something like that. You know what I mean? Like you see it in those small towns.
You got a placard?
No.
Oh.
Well, I mean, I did. I put it up. They took it down. I don't know why. So Beaver Creek needs to do this. This is some cool stuff, man. The actor, and this is an article from Dayton Daily News, Crime and Law section. The actor who voiced Pocahontas was arrested twice in 3 days in Beaver Creek.
Damn.
Good for her. Good for Beaver Creek. That's like, that's some big names that's just floating around Beaver Creek.
That's for what?
According to Dayton Daily News article here, the actor who voiced Pocahontas, the title character in Disney the title character in the Disney animated film, was arrested twice in 3 days in Beaver Creek. Irene Bedard Wilson, 57, was first arrested on Saturday and then again on Monday, according to Beaver Creek police reports. Police were called around 1:50 a.m. Saturday to a home in the 2600 block of blah, blah, blah. Who cares? When they arrived, found a woman identified as her screaming it. Okay, it doesn't matter who, I don't want to go too personal to what's going on there. But the bottom line is you had Pocahontas intoxicated in Beaver Creek. That is definitely well qualified to be our Justin Kenner Show with Kev Nash's non-sports headline
going down in
of
the
the
creek.
day. So in Beaver Creek, congratulations, you are highlighted in the Justin Kenner Show with Kev Nash's non-sports headline of the day. The actress who voiced Pocahontas was arrested twice in 3 days in Beaver Creek over the weekend. Good for her. Good for her. Good for Beaver Creek, as I mentioned.
Why good for Beaver Creek?
I mean, we're talking about Beaver Creek. I mean, there's not a whole lot of great things that happen in Beaver Creek. I'm just saying, what's the last thing you heard about Beaver Creek that you're like, oh, that's pretty cool? Pocahontas getting arrested twice in 3 days.
Probably.
I mean, there's nothing close. So when I drive into Beaver Creek next time, it needs to be home of Disney character Pocahontas getting arrested twice in 3 days.
Fair enough.
I'm just saying.
You're a wild boy, man. You're a wild boy.
All right. No one's going to top that one. That one's pretty good.
That's definitely top of the day.
I mean, I couldn't believe it when I came out. I was like, this has to be fake, right? No. It's real. So there you go. That's our non-sports headline of the day. In other news, we'll get into this more coming up later on in the show. The Rose Bowl and the Fiesta Bowl, both bowl games part of the college football playoff. No fans will be allowed for the Rose Bowl or the Fiesta Bowl due to COVID-19. Two of college football's preeminent bowl games will not allow fans to attend when they kick off early next year. The Rose Bowl, one of the college football playoff semifinal games, and Fiesta Bowl made their announcements on Thursday. The Tournament of Roses said it requested special permission for a limited number of fans or select number of guests of both teams to be in attendance for the Rose Bowl, which will be played on New Year's Day in Pasadena, California. Wow, they were denied. Like they were just requesting like family and like just, close guests to the universities and stuff. They're saying no.
Yeah, I just saw that California just implemented a stay-at-home order. Not so, like, I know we were talking about 49ers in the county that they're in, like, they had a stay-at-home order. Now the whole state has a stay-at-home order.
It's more like a suggestion. Like, we highly suggest you stay home. Unless you need groceries, unless you need to go out to eat, unless you need to go to the store, unless you need to go blah, blah, blah. I mean, my goodness. I mean, like, everyone's like, well, you see people out and about. Like, what are you doing out? I got to go get groceries. You're nowhere near a grocery store. I took a different route.
Got to go to CVS.
There you go.
Got to go to the liquor store.
All right, so no kidding. The NFL Week 13 does not kick off tonight. The reshuffling of the schedule has pushed Thursday Night Football out. There'll be Tuesday Night Football next week. The Ravens will continue their streak of playing on some of the strangest nights of the week, the non-traditional nights. How about the Ravens going out last night? I was a little bummed. I know you're not bummed. I was a little bummed. RG3 was starting to kind of pick up a little momentum last night. He had a couple big plays, and then he came up limping.
Blew a tire.
Yeah, no kidding. Felt bad for you. Could tell he was starting to have fun again. It's the first time I've watched a game with RG3 where he was having fun.
Yeah.
And say what you want about him. He was fun to watch in college. we rip on Trevor Lawrence right now. Years from now, we'll be like, man, Trevor, he was a good quarterback. He was fun to watch. We hate them when they're in college because they're not a Buckeye. But, a few years after they're removed from college, it's like, okay, they were fun to watch. Johnny Manziel, rip him all you want. Make fun of him all you want about the Browns. He was one of the most fun quarterbacks to watch in college that I can remember. I mean, he was must-see TV. Baker Mayfield at Oklahoma. People hate Baker Mayfield. He was must-see. He was polarizing. Like, he was polarizing. Planting the flag in the field, and the block O at the shoe, whatever. Like, he was polarizing. He was must-watch. So RG3, very similar just because of all the, outside noise too, but never seen a guy have such a great rookie year and dip off the way he did. Baker's close, but not nearly as close to RG3.
Yeah, when your leg goes the opposite direction,
that'll do it.
That'll do it.
That'll do it every time. So big weekend, big opportunity for Baker Mayfield this weekend.
Absolutely. Big opportunity for the Cleveland Browns to take another step towards getting locked into their playoff spot.
No, I mean, a big weekend for Baker Mayfield because
oh goodness,
the GOAT is going to join other GOATs. I'm just joking. He's not a GOAT. He's more like a jackass sometimes, but he might be a GOAT one day. You never know. Baker Mayfield could join Andrew Luck and Peyton Manning.
Okay.
Let's just stop there. It doesn't matter what I read after that. That's just great company to be in. Baker Mayfield, the worst quarterback of all time, according to most, is about to join a nice little club with Peyton Manning and Andrew Luck coming up on Sunday. Baker Mayfield could join Andrew Luck and Peyton Manning as the only players in NFL history with at least 3,500 passing yards and 20 touchdown passes in each of their first 3 seasons. We also talked the other day, his numbers through the first 40 games of his career are actually better than Peyton Manning's. They're better than Drew Brees. They're better than Russell Wilson's. They're better than Aaron Rodgers. I thought that was interesting because when I watch Baker Mayfield, it's painful on my eyes. And I know he had a very good rookie season, Kevin, but it wasn't that great of a rookie season to make up for what we've seen the last year and a half. So I think he's better, obviously, than what we are giving him credit for. People so over the weekend, Baker had his best game. I would argue probably outside of the Bengals game, his best game of the season was this past Sunday. He overthrew 5 receivers.
Mm-hmm.
That's the narrative of the game for people who want to just find reasons to hate him because he's not a perfect quarterback. He never will be. He'll never be a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. I don't think he has to be when you have Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt in that offensive line and so on and so on. But Baker Mayfield made some of the most difficult throws I've ever seen this past Sunday. I mean, he made some very tough throws on the run, on the rollout. Like, he was unstoppable on the rollout.
Landry where it went like right between dude's arms. Yeah.
Now, so his strength at times is his biggest weakness because those throws that he's capable of making, sometimes he's not capable of making. But he takes a chance and tries to attempt those throws, which more times than not results in an interception. He hasn't thrown an interception in like 4 games.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a month since he's thrown an interception. He's cleaned that part of his game up. If Jameis Winston would clean that part of his game up, he'd be an MVP in the league, to be honest with you. That's the limiting the turnovers. That speaks volumes about Baker being disciplined enough to play within Kevin Stefanski's system, and speaks volumes enough about Kevin Stefanski to get him to buy in to that system. My point is that Baker played his best game of the season this past weekend. And all people kept talking about were the overthrows. I can't ignore those. I'm not going to make excuses for them. They're crap overthrows. You can't do that. And they're not just overthrows. There was 2 touchdowns he overthrew. So I'm not making one of those resulted in a field goal that would have put that game out of reach at the end that wouldn't even have made you have to worry about whether the Jaguars could come back. So I'm not going to sit here and make excuses for it, but no quarterback is perfect. If we literally went through every game, like last night for Big Ben Roethlisberger, go pick his 3 to 5 worst throws of the night, and let's just label him off of those 3 to 5 throws on the night. And let's ignore any good that he did. So I'm not a fan of doing that at all, period. Baker's playing really good football right now. I know the narrative is that it's Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb, and it is. They are a running team.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not going to win only with a running team if your quarterback's making mistakes. That's how the Titans were able to win last year. Ryan Tannehill, who everyone had written off until a year ago, also added that element to, cleaned up his games where he wasn't turning the ball over. He is more efficient and accurate than Baker, yes. But I don't think that the gap between them is that great. You and I disagree on that. I don't think that Ryan Tannehill, the Browns' record would not be better with Ryan Tannehill. I don't think that they would be better with Ryan Tannehill. That's what I mean by I don't think that they are that far apart. I don't think that the Titans are worse with Baker Mayfield because they are Derrick Henry. The Titans are Derrick Henry and company. They have a couple good receivers, so do the Browns. They are a spitting image of one another. The defenses are rough. The Titans defense has improved over the last couple of weeks. The Browns defense, I mean,
they got a Dory Jackson back. They made that trade for Desmond King.
In the offseason, they added Jadeveon Clowney.
He hasn't done anything though. But I think really this the trade for King and Adoree Jackson being back, they're able to hold up out there on the wide receivers a lot better than whoever the corners were before. So with them being back in the lineup, their defense has been playing a lot better. The Tannehill thing, it's a lot to unpack there with Tannehill, man. You know, he was a wide receiver part-time at Texas A&M, turned quarterback. Everybody was blown away from his athleticism, obviously, because he was a wide receiver, so you would imagine he's pretty athletic. He goes to the Dolphins, the Adam Gase thing, and then we see what Adam Gase is doing with the Jets. So he gets a redo with the Titans, and the biggest thing about him when he got to the Titans, when they made that switch from Marcus Mariota, was he was willing to take shots downfield. He still has that big time arm, so they take shots downfield. And when you have a running game like you do with that offensive line and Derrick Henry, play action is a monster, and you're able to take shots over the top. And this year, not only is he taking shots over the top, but they're pretty lethal inside the red zone with that zone read there, because they're using his athleticism, and he's throwing it to the outside receivers a ton. So I really think that not only the Tannehill getting a redo, which a lot of quarterbacks don't get, getting a second opportunity to be a starting quarterback in the NFL after flaming out down there in Miami, he gets a second chance. He's allowed a chance to develop. And that's something that a lot of quarterbacks don't get a chance to do, because we're seeing Jameis Winston. He's not getting that chance. When Drew Brees went down, they actually did go the other way. Everybody just knew they were going to go to Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston is officially the backup to the backup now. So I don't know how Baker's career is going to end out, if he is the guy or if he isn't the guy. But if he isn't the guy in Cleveland, history shows that once you're not the guy on the team that drafted you, you don't get a second chance. I think the Tannehill thing is an anomaly. Like, he caught on with the right team, and he's making the most of his opportunity.
All right, Baker Mayfield, 17 touchdowns on the season. Ryan Tannehill with 23. Baker Mayfield has 17 touchdowns, including a 3-game stretch where he did not throw a touchdown. So that's interesting right there. Ryan Tannehill has 20 more passing attempts on the season than Baker Mayfield, has 500 more passing yards on the season than Baker Mayfield. Like I said, Ryan Tannehill edges out Baker in a lot of those, but not by much. I mean, if you think that, because he has 500 more passing yards, that automatically makes him better than Baker. And I think he is slightly better than Baker, but not by much, to where I think that the Browns are better with Ryan Tannehill than Baker Mayfield. And I also don't think that the Titans take a step back with Baker Mayfield as their quarterback than Ryan Tannehill.
How many interceptions has Tannehill thrown?
Where's Ryan Tannehill's interception, Strody? I'll make him. He's our Ryan Tannehill correspondent. I can't wait to get this game over with, so we never have to talk about Ryan Tannehill.
What is the bet, again. Man? That's what I really want to know.
4 interceptions for Ryan Tannehill.
Taking care of the ball.
Both take care of the ball. both take care of the ball.
Why do you take that as I'm taking a shot at Baker? Both of them will take care of the ball. He's taking care of the ball. I think Tannehill's a better quarterback.
You said a fact. I said a fact. They both take care of the ball. I'm just saying.
I just think Tannehill's a better quarterback. So, what's the score going to be? I want to hear your prediction on this game. I know
it is Thursday. We usually do our picks. So what? So Tennessee is a 5.5-point favorite on Sunday. They are the home team.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a one-possession game either way. Whoever wins, it's going to be a one-possession game. I think Cleveland wins 28-21.
Okay.
Wins by touchdown.
Okay. What's Strody say? Strody, what do you think? Hit us up. Let us know. I think Tennessee wins this game 35-24.
Hold up. I got to interrupt this real quick because of all the people that has the nerve to comment in this chat section, Mr. Ron Howard. Mr. Buccaneer fan himself.
He's back.
Ron Howard, you have lost your privileges of being able to comment in the comment section during this show. You, my friend, did nothing but rip the Cleveland Browns. Just because you have talent doesn't mean that you're good. How are your Buccaneers doing, by the way? You got the GOAT at quarterback. You have all this talent. By the way, more talent on both sides of the ball combined than the Browns ever had, to start with Baker Mayfield. And you have the nerve to comment on Hayfield. I don't think Hayfield's coach is coming out saying that he can't read defenses. I think that's Tom Brady's coach that's doing that.
I'm glad you brought that up.
By the way, Tom Brady's still better than Baker. I'm not saying that, but for Ron's purposes.
Glad you brought this up because I've been wanting to talk about this for a while. We just haven't heard from Ron in a while. I do have a question for him and everybody out there. So last year, when Jameis was out here throwing 30 interceptions and Bruce Arians was throwing Jameis under the bus, everybody was like, yeah, you're turning the ball over too much, which he was. Everybody was on Coach Arians' side. Now that Tom Brady is seemingly turning the ball over like a maniac, something he's never done, by the way, Bruce Arians is treating Tom Brady as if he was treating Jameis Winston. So he treats all his players exactly the same because he's throwing Tom Brady under the bus. Crazy, I know. Why is it now? What is Arians talking about? Why aren't we holding Tom Brady to the same standard as Jameis Winston?
Because Tom Brady is Tom Brady and Jameis Winston's. Jameis has done absolutely nothing in the league to warrant getting the benefit of the doubt.
But he's turning the ball over. Just like Jameis Winston did.
No, not like Jameis Winston turned it over 30 times. He did
more than 30 times. Don't forget the fumbles.
That's just the interceptions. You're right. Like I heard this be talked about this morning. I think it was Keyshawn who brought it up. I'm like, I don't think. I mean, it's not like we're talking about two greats here. We're talking about a great who has earned the benefit of the doubt more than anyone.
Right.
And you have Jameis Winston, who, like the people that are defending Tom Brady, and I'm not a Tom Brady apologist. I really don't care one way or another. I still think that, the coach is always right because it's the coach, even if they're making wrong, more times than not, right? Like, unless you're a boob like Freddie Kitchens, who knows absolutely nothing. Bruce Arians was the guy that everyone was saying, oh, he's the guy. He's one of the best coaches in football. And now everyone's throwing him under the bus saying, oh, that he's just crazy. He's crazy.
That's what I'm saying.
This is a popularity contest of Tom Brady just has the clout in this situation.
Yeah.
He has the 6 Super Bowls. He has the body of work. He has the resume. He has the face in the room. The face in the room, that the reason that everyone was so split between Bill Belichick and Tom Brady is because for every resume bullet point that you would bring up for Tom Brady, you could use the same one for Bill Belichick.
Right.
That's why we never could. Like, there was a pocket of people who blame Belichick, a pocket of people who blame Brady, but it was all the noise washed out because both had the face of the situation. This is different. Arians does not have anything like this. Was going to be tough for Arians no matter what if things started to unravel, because everyone's going to look at Tom Brady and say, well, this is a guy that's been running a 2-decade-long dynasty. You haven't done anything, so of course we're going to say that it's you doing something wrong and not Tom Brady. I think that's what it comes down to.
I think you got to look at his offense. His offense is not custom for Tom Brady taking shots down the field. I think it's just as simple as that. I think for the Buccaneers, they need to get more option routes, but I don't think you necessarily have outside of Antonio Brown and Gronk. Like, you don't really have option route receivers. You have deep threats. So, it's up to Arians and Byron Leftwich, their offensive coordinator, to not only design the offense around what your quarterback does well, but to actually call those plays. Like, if your quarterback can't throw the ball downfield, you shouldn't have him be throwing the ball downfield. Like that second year Peyton Manning had with the Broncos, they didn't throw the ball downfield because he couldn't throw it downfield. So you have to make adjustments. So that's all on Coach Arians.
All right, 457-9464. Chris Schultz messages into the show. He says, Justin, who would you take if the Browns played the Bucs? On paper, I'm picking the Bucs every day, all day, just because of the talent. The problem, Chris, is that I don't know who the Bucs are. On paper, they're supposed to be this well-balanced, equally balanced, juggernaut of a team. As impressive as they're supposed to be offensively, they're supposed to be just as good defensively, and that's not the case. I mean, we're talking about a month's worth of games where they are not that consistent. I mean, hell, you go back to that Giants game, Kev. They won 25-23 over the Giants. It took everything in their power, and I think it was Monday night or Thursday night football, whatever it was.
A picked up flag.
So they
on pass interference on the 2-point conversion.
So they got a win against the Giants, but their struggles really started about a month ago. They should have lost to the Giants, and that means if they would have lost to the Giants the way they were supposed to, that means they would have had one win in the last month and a half. So it would be tough for me to pick the Browns over the Bucs, Chris. But big picture, I probably should pick the Browns. The Browns, to give them credit, they have been who they have been all year, and that is they have bought into their identity. They know who they are. They know that they're. I mean, what's impressive about them winning, Kev, They are not. I mean, the Browns are the Titans of this year. Someone said, I think on 92, I think it was 93 or 92.3, whatever the station is in Cleveland. I was listening to them today. Ken Carman said that, they're the Titans of last year. The Titans of last year had one of the best defenses in the NFL. The Browns are not the Titans of last year. They're the Titans of this year. Average to below average defense, strong powered run game, quarterbacks who do just enough to get the job done, great wide receiver play, good tight ends, good offensive line. I mean, they're a mirroring image of one another. But Chris, to answer your question, I should pick the Browns over the Bucs because they've been more consistent, but I'd be nervous. You never know what you're going to get with the Bucs this week against the Vikings. There's a million reasons why the Vikings should win. There's a million reasons why the Bucs should win. I don't know. The Bucs scare me. I would never put $1 on them. I have no clue who they are. I know who they could be. That's the problem.
You want to talk to Ron now or after the break?
Oh, after the break. Let Ron sit a little bit. Hopefully the Bucs improve while you're waiting, Ron. We'll be back in a moment.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.
Justin, you're awesome, baby.
Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
For the one standing guard. For the eagle-eyed. For the knights in shining armor. And for all those who support them. We are Grainger, your experienced safety partner, offering supplies and solutions for every industry, committed to helping keep your facilities safe and your people safer. Call, click Grainger.com/safety, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Find out what happens when road rage takes a deadly turn. Rent Unhinged, now available at Redbox, starring Russell Crowe. He's a man whose actions escalate to deadly proportions as he becomes single-mindedly determined to teach a divorced mother a lesson after she impatiently honks at him at a red light. Watch Unhinged along with other new movies and make it a Redbox night. Head to one of the 40,000 Redbox locations, stream on your smart TV, or visit redbox.com for all the ways to watch.
If you need new roofing, siding, or gutters, skylights, or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding in Fairborn has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Lance Roofing and Siding, 8460 Dayton Springfield Road in Fairborn. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722 or online at lanceroofing.com.
Mrs. Claus here. I used to shop online. Now I save money by getting fun and exciting gifts from a locally owned small business that beats Amazon. Where? At the Hobby Shop, near the Dayton Mall. The Hobby Shop has the latest radio-controlled cars and trucks by Arma and the nicest trains by Athearn. Keep your money local and save over the big guys by going to the Hobby Shop. The Hobby Shop, a quarter-mile north of Dayton Mall, directly across the street from Lowe's, next to Ollie's. For your safety in these COVID times, the Hobby Shop offers curbside pickup. Call 937-436-6161.
I'm Dr. Baker, an ER physician. If you're having leg pain, swelling, or redness, but haven't talked to your doctor yet, don't wait. This could be deep vein thrombosis, a blood clot which could travel to your lungs and lead to a pulmonary embolism, which could cause chest pain or discomfort or difficulty breathing and be deadly. Your symptoms could mean something serious, so don't wait. Talk to a doctor right away, by phone, online, or in person.
Brought to you by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
The holidays mean the kitchen is getting a lot of love right now, and those stainless steel surfaces are feeling a lot too, with smudges and fingerprints. Give your kitchen a gift of its own from Lowe's with stainless steel kitchen appliances from Whirlpool that are fingerprint and smudge resistant. Less time cleaning means more time together in everyone's favorite hangout spot. A gift for your kitchen brings joy to all. Find gifts and deals all season long at Lowe's, home for the holidays. Offer valid on select appliances. See store for details. U.S. only.
You're ready to get back into yoga, so you order the essentials. A non-slip mat, yoga blocks to keep balance, and an exercise ball. And you use your Bank of America Cash Rewards credit card, choosing to earn 3% cash back on online shopping and up to 5.25% as a preferred rewards member, which you put towards your most essential yoga gear. Noise-canceling headphones.
Welcome. Take a deep breath. Breathe.
Apply for yours at bankofamerica.com/more rewarding. Copyright 2020 Bank of America Corporation.
In a world that still calls for your touch, they The You by Moen Smart Faucet answers without it.
Moen, wash my hands.
Only one faucet allows you to create hundreds of presets that deliver the exact amount and temperature you ask for. You by Moen, the only faucet you never have to touch. Water designs our life. Who designs for water?
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Looking for the perfect present? Then head to the perfect place. Stop by your neighborhood Ace and find the best gifts from brands like Steel, Eagle, and Milwaukee, or Traeger, Weber, and Yeti. And to help make sure your gifts are under your tree on time, you can shop in-store, online, or on the Ace app. Pick up in-store, curbside, or get them delivered. Get amazing deals on the best gifts when you wrap it in red at Ace at participating stores.
You have empty office space to fill. You know what you need, and you know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places that what you need and what you'd like, that might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week there's something new. If you need office furniture, Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half price and below manufacturer's suggested prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really. Desks from $50 to $5,000. File cabinets $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Outlet. With 87,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. 2 locations. One at 23 McOil Street, Dayton. The other, Uniques Unlimited on South Dixie. Open Monday through Friday, 10 to 6. Saturday, 10 to 4.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring for brand new home daily dedicated lanes. Earn up to $1,620 per week. A $2,000 sign-on bonus, medical, dental, vision, company paid life insurance. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com.
There's never any FOMO with the iHeartRadio app. You won't ever have to miss out on your favorite shows and contests with this radio station again. Radio 24/7, 365. We're here when you want us. Stay connected and listen anywhere when you download the free iHeartRadio app.
This year, get a gift for the crew and something for you, too. Shop Lowe's in-store or at lowesforpros.com for brands like DeWalt, Metabo, HPT, Yeti, and more. While supplies last, U.S. only.
Let it snow. Dayton Flyers basketball fans, don't miss the Talking Out Loud pregame show hosted by Sully this Saturday at 11 a.m. Live from Timothy's Bar and Grill on Brown Street. The place to cheer on your Flyers. Arrive early, wear red, and stay loud.
Home for the holidays, taking on a new meaning this year. Whatever your plans to celebrate, First Florist and Greenhouses can brighten your home with the holiday spirit. For gourmet baskets, holiday decorations, seasonal plants, and fresh cut flowers, your best choice is Dayton's largest family-owned florist and greenhouses. In business at the same location since 1905. First Florist and Greenhouses. In-store shopping at 1306 Troy Street in Dayton, curbside pickup, and convenient online shopping. Visit us at firsttheflorist.com. That's FURST, theflorist.com.
D-Max, home of the award-winning Duramax diesel engine, is hiring production jobs. Come to the D-Max plant for a drive-through job fair, Friday, December 4th, at the plant on Dryden Road from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Be a part of the winning Duramax team.
All those mouths to feed, so many different cravings.
In a world filled with endless dinner options, lives a family ravaged by hunger. The answer lies with one man. No, not just a man, a king, a pizza king.
Get a large Casano's Deluxe Pizza for $15.99 or a large pepperoni for just $12.99. Call 294-KING and see for yourself why the proof is in the taste.
Pizza King.
Staples has great deals on the hottest brands and must-have gifts for working or learning from home. Shop in-store or pick up curbside at most stores and save big at Staples.
Don't miss the only weekly hour of radio dedicated to Dayton Flyers basketball. It's Talking Out Loud, hosted by Sully. Thursday nights at 6 p.m. on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM, and online at wingam.com. On Twitter, make sure to give us a follow. Search 1410 Kinner for Justin Kinner on Twitter. That's 1410 KINNER. And ESPN Dayton for the station Twitter handle. We are Dayton's home of the Ohio State Buckeyes.
And into the end zone goes Chris Olave. KJ Hill, 6-yard touchdown catch.
Right sideline and down he goes to the edge
WING 1410 Dayton's ESPN Radio. It's the Justin Kinner Show, live here on ESPN Dayton, 1410 Wing AM. Tweet the show at 1410 Kinner or give us a call at 457-9464. We now send you to the Wing Studios in Kettering. Here's your host, Justin Kinner.
Dayton Flyers fans, make sure you continue hanging out later this evening after the show for the Talking Out Loud Dayton Flyers Men's Basketball Hour, the only hour dedicated to the Dayton Flyers throughout the week. So make sure that you tune in immediately following the show with Sully. Talking Out Loud with Sully, Ryan Mikesell will be the guest on tonight's show. Excited about that. So make sure you keep it locked in here. Sully will take over from me coming up at 6 o'clock. He will then have Ryan Mikesell on. So excited to hear what he has to say. They're going to kind of break down what they saw in that opening game against Eastern Illinois. So they're going to dive into that. Keep in mind, too, Flyer fans, that the matchup with Purdue-Fort Wayne next Tuesday, next Tuesday, the game at the UD Arena against Purdue-Fort Wayne has been canceled. Purdue-Fort Wayne had out of the Horizon League. I'm surprised they even knew what the Horizon League was, to be honest with you. But they canceled that game after a positive test within the Purdue-Fort Wayne program. What the hell is Purdue-Fort Wayne? I should know this. I do a podcast on the Horizon League. But the Mastodons, there you go.
Oh, I have no idea. Ooey Pooey, that's all I know.
Yeah. No, they're not. That's not Ooey Pooey.
That's not Ooey Pooey?
See, now you're totally disrespecting the Horizon League right now. You're fanning the flame, man.
I didn't know. I'm sorry.
Ooey Pooey is IUPUI.
Oh, okay. Well, there's only
I'm getting pissed at you. I didn't even know what the hell the Mastodons were.
Well, there's only one team that I care about in Horizon League. So,
big Detroit fan?
No, the alma mater, the Raiders, baby.
So I had Dick Vitale on that Horizon League podcast I do, and he says he regrets leaving. Like, he won a lot of games at Detroit when he was the coach of Detroit. So on the podcast, talking with Dick Vitale about that, he says that he regrets leaving Detroit to take the Pistons job. He felt that the way he had that program going, they could have been Gonzaga.
Wow.
Like he said he thinks about that regularly. That Dick Vitale says he regrets leaving the Detroit Titans job to go to take the Pistons job. He says had he stayed around, they would have been a Gonzaga of the Midwest.
Think about all the talent that comes from that area in, Michigan and Detroit. Obviously, the famous guys like Chris Webber, Jalen Rose, Derek Coleman, and guys like that. But you think about other guys, Howard Isley, Rashawn Leonard. Like, there's a lot of talent that came out of the state of Michigan in the 90s, man. So yeah, at that point it was a hotbed for basketball, man.
Wright State in action tonight. They tip off their 2020 season. They welcome in Marshall.
Mm-hmm.
Wright State is a 1.5-point dog against Marshall. I projected that they beat Marshall by double digits on the show yesterday. I projected, based on what I saw the other night, Wright State, if UD plays the way they did the other night, Wright State beats that Dayton team.
Okay, now, obviously, I'm a huge Wright State basketball fan as well, but how can you say that and you haven't even seen this version of the Wright State Raiders?
What do you mean this version? It's all the same. It's. I've seen Tanner Holden play. I've seen Loudon Love play. I've seen these guys play.
Right.
Remember, I'm one of the few people in this town that watch these teams on a regular basis, both of them. I'm one of the few that can actually watch both of them and actually be able to assess both of them at the same time, because everyone that likes to crap on Wright State, they don't give them the time of day. So they just make up these, there's no way Wright State could beat UD. Oh, yeah? Do you know anything about Wright State's program? No. Okay. Well, thank you for playing along. Run along now. No.
I'm just saying, man, this version of the team is different, and they're playing up against a team that already has a game underneath their belt. So I am very worried about you tomorrow. I'm not worried about the Raiders. They're going to
about me. Oh, why are you worried about me?
Because
I've survived this role 30 years being me.
I'm just saying, man, the phone lines are going to be buzzing tomorrow if it doesn't go our Raiders' way.
Yeah.
And they're all going to be towards you, not towards me.
It's going to go their way tonight.
I hope so.
I'm surprised that it's not going their way. I mean, what does Vegas know? Vegas should have called Kinner.
They're just throwing up buildings left and right.
They're just guessing at this point.
Okay.
I'm
just saying, man, I'm rooting for Wright State as well. I mean, it's the alma mater. I want them to win as many games as humanly possible. It's just saying it's their first game.
Wright State has size. They got Grant Basile. They got Loud Love. 2 near 7-footers, man. They're freaking huge.
Let's go win this
They'll do
thing.
work.
Let's go win this thing.
They got the Fink kid from Grand Canyon that transferred last year.
Okay, that's the guy you were telling me about.
Yep.
Okay. I was looking at the roster, and I was like, yeah, I don't recognize this kid's name. But okay, I got
Fink
you.
kid's good. I'm excited to see him get to play. Talk to Coach Nagy about him. He's actually their best, defender. He can shoot lights out. I'm pumped about that. So you got your size, you got your shooters, you got your scorers, and Tanner Holden, Trey Calvin. We run in the point position. They're fine, Kev. You ain't got to convince me, man. But I'm trying to convince people to buy in, to understand that if UD continues to play the way they did the other night, if they did ever man up to play Wright State beats them.
All I'm saying is,
as long as UD plays like that, if that's who they are for the whole year, but UD has always lately, as of late, at least played bad. I mean, last year I talked with Sully about this earlier today. They only beat Indiana State by 5 last year in the very first game of the season.
Right.
And then they only went on to be the number 3 team in the country. So I could be, maybe I am a troll. Maybe I was waiting for UD to struggle like that against Eastern Carolina so that I could say, told you so. But we'll see. We'll see. I trust Anthony. I think the Flyers are better than what they looked the other night.
It's the first game.
But if they played like that against Wright State, this Wright State team, they lose. Wright State blows out that Eastern Carolina team.
I just would like to see the Raiders get a game underneath their belt.
Stop with needing to see. I've seen them have a game under their belt. I've seen all these guys play.
So going off of your logic from last year when they only beat Indiana State by 5 points, they weren't going to be the number 3 team in the country. You got to get games underneath your belt. You got to get games. You got to get your win. You got to get your rhythm right with your teammates, man. Coaches got to figure out the
all of a sudden, so after tonight, we just know who the hell Wright State is then.
I want to see them play. I'm rooting
for how long? How many quarters does it need to how many quarters does it take for Kev Nash to say, okay, I've seen enough. I know who they are now.
Yeah,
so after tonight, so I could talk smack beginning tomorrow because we've seen Wright State play.
I would say in basketball, I need at least 3 to 5 games to figure out.
They may not play 3 or 5 games all year.
To figure out how this team is going to play. We're expecting them to be good because they're returning a lot of guys, but I want to see it. I mean, shoot. Hold on. If I'm not mistaken, they're replacing their point guard, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
Oh, stop. They'll be fine.
What?
They'll be fine. Trey Calvin's going to be fine.
I hope so. I'm rooting for them.
They got the player of the year in the conference. They're fine.
And, I mean, that point guard set him up quite nicely.
Grant Basile, another year under his belt. He's fine.
Go Raiders.
100%. Everyone's playing tonight.
Speaking of Wright State, obviously you and I are like the banner wavers of the Wright State flag in this town. It'd be nice if we got some jerseys.
Why?
Because I want one.
I don't wear jerseys. Fat guys don't look good.
I want the black one with the cursive Raiders on it. So if they're listening up there at the good old on Colonel Glenn Highway, holler at your boy, man. A nice little Wright State jersey with number 7 on it would be nice.
There you go. That's Nash, Nash.
Yeah. And I
remember that guy that used to call you Nash hole on the text. Maybe you put a little hole at the end.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that to me. I'm alumni, man. Paid a lot of money to go to that school.
I'm still paying a lot of money to go to that school. Okay. Justin Kidder, Kevin Nash with you here. But yeah, Wright State Marshall tonight, 7:00 to tip off. Immediately following the show, Talking Out Loud with Sully. Ryan Mikesell, former Flyer, will join him. This Saturday, we're going to be live out at Timothy's Bar and Grill beginning at 11 a.m. for the Talking Out Loud Dayton Flyers pregame show. The Flyers and SMU will be doing business on Saturday at 2:00 tip off. We'll be live out at Timothy's, so we're excited about that. So keep that in mind if you're out about looking for a place to watch the game, because keep in mind, can't go to the game. All right, you can't watch the game there. Timothy's is the place to be to watch the game this season, and Sully's going to be live out there on Saturday, so keep that in mind. Okay, speaking of teams with expectations that have not lived up to those expectations, how about let's talk about Ron's Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Let's go to Ron. Ron, you still there? Ron, hey!
Yeah, I'm still here.
Yeah, I'm still here. Oh, my Buccaneers suck, man. What's up, Ron?
No, I didn't say that.
I'm saying that. Justin Kinner's saying that, Ron.
I'm just... See, you're one of them flip-floppers, and you judge people.
7-5. Who would have thought, Ron, that the Cleveland Browns, all the smack talk you've been doing, who would have thought in December that the Cleveland Browns would have a better record than your Tampa Bay Buccaneers? You were already looking for tickets to the Super Bowl, home game for what you thought was going to be your Buccaneers.
Hey, it ain't over yet, okay? They still got a bye week, and they're on the easy part of their schedule.
I mean, a bye week. Haven't they been taking the last couple of weeks off anyways?
I'm just telling you, I'll make you a bet. I bet they go farther in the season than Cleveland does.
So you mean they're going to play more games in the regular season than Cleveland?
No, I bet they'll get in the playoffs. But I think they'll go farther than your team will.
Well, yeah, the NFC's trash.
Well, you guys still
Ron, you seem flustered, Ron. You're usually on your game. You seem flustered today. I think you're trying not to cuss. That's the vibe I'm getting.
I do have my hand on the cup button. I am ready today.
I feel like because you've been silent for a while and you talked all this smack and then your Buccaneers embarrassed themselves.
I do appreciate Ron trying not to cuss, though. I do appreciate that.
You could hear the.
Feb's heard me cuss, but I'm saying. I just don't. This is the only thing I'm scratching my head about this whole Tom Brady thing. I mean, I love them, the deal, but you bring this guy down here, you go all this way to get this guy, and then you put him in an offense that doesn't fit him at all. The play calling is horrible. I'm telling you. And I think a lot of it is Arians, but he wants to point the finger at Brady. I mean, Brady leads the league in 20 or plus yards passes thrown this year. And that's not his game, man. He's a little dinky dunk screen, maybe one shot or two down the field, but it's just way out of his element, I think.
So here's the problem with that, Ron, and again, I'm not comparing them to the Browns, but here's the problem. I'm agreeing with you that's not his game. But the roster is built better than the box you want to keep him limited to. If you want a little dink and dunk passing game with maybe going down the field once or twice, you have too much talent on that roster to settle for that kind of offense. That was my biggest thing about the Browns is, okay, we're going to settle for being this big, heavy run team who's just going to do these little short passes about 20 to 25 times a game. Well, then why do you have an OBJ and a Jarvis Landry and an Austin Hooper? Why do you have these big playmakers if all you're going to do is run your team as if you don't have talent? I think that's the problem with the Buccaneers too, is they're constructed with all these big outside weapons that Brady's not capable of taking advantage of. So I think we could be blaming Tom Brady because he's not capable of making the plays with the talent around him. We blame Baker when he couldn't excel with the talent he had around him, but Tom Brady, we're blaming everyone else except him.
Well, and also
blame him.
Yeah. Also, they got a good set of backs too. Okay, Ronald Jones and Fournette, that 1-2 punch. I mean, they abandoned that too quick, and then it's all on Brady. I got to get it down the field.
Well, I mean, couldn't that be? I think that says a lot too about. I mean, look at the talent that they have. Did you go get Antonio Brown so that Tom Brady could just throw these little 5-yard out screen passes?
You know what?
I'm not being a smartass. I'm just, you know what I'm saying? Because I asked that about the Browns. Why go get OBJ if your main goal was to just throw these little short screen passes because you're not going to let Baker throw down the field? So that's where I'm at with Tom Brady. You have Chris Godwin, you have Mike Evans, you have Antonio Brown. If Aaron Rodgers had those three, they would be airing it out for days. You know what I mean? Like that's what I mean by that.
Oh, I know. It's just like pick and choose. And but I'm telling you. I don't know. I'm getting.
Yeah. See, I got you flustered. See, Rod, you couldn't stay in control today, man.
No,
8-3, baby.
I got it. There's what I was going to say real quick. You know what? They were doing really, they were starting to gel before Antonio Brown came. And I'm not saying he's been a bad cancer, and he's been a wonderful player. But it's like, since he's got there, the whole culture changed a little bit. You know what I mean? If you know
that ain't fair. I don't think that's fair to put on him. I don't think that's fair. Tom Brady found a way to make it work in a small amount of window of time when they were in New England when Antonio Brown was there. I think it's I think it's Bruce Arians who's wearing on people more than Antonio Brown. I don't think Antonio Brown's done anything wrong. Plus, Tom Brady's not Big Ben Roethlisberger. He knows how to handle Antonio Brown.
Yeah. And I'm telling you, Tom Brady will not fail, but he's in a system that's trying to make him fail. But I'm saying he will find a way to have get in the playoffs. I know they're expanded too. So, but here's another thing about since OBJ's been gone, the team's been playing better.
I don't think they've played better since OBJ's been gone. Like, do you, Kev?
I don't necessarily believe that they played better. I was expecting Baker to play a lot better because of that theory I had about him. But, to be honest,
their offense is worse. Look at the points per game. They were averaging 30 points per game with OBJ. They're averaging just under 20 without him.
Like that, you're right. You're correct. But I do believe like some of these weather games that the Browns have played in does have a factor on the amount of points they've scored. I mean, they're unable to pass the ball because of the weather. And it's not just the Browns, it's their opponents as well. Like their opponents weren't, putting up crazy numbers. I mean, they played the Houston Texans and Deshaun Watson
10-7.
Yeah. And then the very next week, Deshaun Watson throws for like 350 yards. And we know
the Raiders gave 16-6 or 16.
And then a week after that, they're going back and forth with KC. So it's evident the weather is playing a role in the Browns scoring average. I mean, there's 3 games right there that show you that, all right, man, they're not scoring a ton of points because they can't throw the ball. Neither team can throw the ball. So I do think that has an effect not only on Baker's stats, but the overall team stats. So I don't really hold those games really against the Browns. But they did what they were supposed to do. They found out a way to win the game, and that's the important part.
All right, Ron, adios. I think Ron went bye-bye anyways.
I think he just Ron.
And Schroeder's still talking smack, by the way. Says 20 points a game in this NFL. What a joke.
Did he give his prediction?
I got to go back and find it. By the way, their last loss, 34-17 to the Colts. So they just beat the Colts 45-26. They beat the Ravens 30-24. So there you go. I'm looking for his prediction. Where'd it go?
And you said what again?
28-21.
28-21. I said.
And then Schroeder said, "You're dumb, Kenner. The Titans aren't Derrick Henry. Dumbest statement you've made." Oh, you haven't been listening much long. You haven't been listening that long. Then I say lots of I say lots of dumb things. Where did your score prediction go? 37-24 Titans.
Whoa. Okay. All right, so we're going to review here. Kenner, 28-21.
Now, I have till the end of the show tomorrow to change my prediction.
This guy.
No, it's true, though. I have till the end of the show tomorrow to change my prediction. Why do we have to have our pick locked on a Thursday at 5 o'clock?
I'm taking a picture of it right now with my sloppy handwriting.
I'll take a picture of mine, too. It'll change. 28-21. The Browns are beating the Titans. And by the way, Schroeder, I don't like. Remember when and Schroeder, see, he pulled Steve from Springboro when the Titans lost to the Bengals. We didn't hear from Schroeder for forever. Remember, Schroeder disappeared for a while. Coward. Then he waited till after they lost to the Bengals, and they started winning a few games after. They lose to the Bengals 31-20. Then, they beat the Bears. Then when they beat the Ravens, that's when Schroeder came back. We all of a sudden started hearing from Schroeder more the last couple weeks. When they lost to the Bengals, he disappeared. We didn't hear from Schroeder.
Out of there.
Out of sight, out of mind.
What you got to do, man?
All right. What you want to bet? I don't know. I'm still working on that.
What's the bet, man? I got to know the bet.
I told you mail election time. Well, like I said, Schroeder, it's a busy time. You hiding all them ballots and all. Hey, you still got them ballots at your house, Schroeder?
Stick to sports.
He delivers mail. I'm just saying. I blame him. I'm just joking, folks. Calm down. Schroeder didn't have that many votes in his car. All right, we'll be back in a moment. Don't go anywhere. Let's talk about Dayton Flyers basketball with Sully. He joins us next. Don't go anywhere.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, right here on ESPN 1410 Wing AM. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be partly to mostly cloudy, a high near 42. Tonight's going to be mostly cloudy with a low around 32. And tomorrow will be partly cloudy with a high near 45. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
At Meadowbrook at Clayton, our state-of-the-art golf simulators are ready for play. Book your tee times now and get our special rate of $15 per half hour for up to 4 people per simulator. Here's your chance to play some of the great golf courses around the world, including Kiowa Island, Harbor Town, and Spain's Valderrama. Weekday and weekend hours are available, and safe prepackaged snacks and drinks are only steps away. Go online to meadowbrookatclayton.com for details. Everyone is welcome, so call and reserve your times now.
Friggin' chicken chunks, friggin' chicken chunks, friggin' chicken chunks, friggin' chicken chunks. $29.99 gets you 4 pounds of friggin' chicken chunks. Don't forget the 4 sauces too. Don't forget the 4 sauces too. 4 sauces too. 4 sauces too. 4 sauces too. Friggin' chicken chunks.
Bring in the season with 4 pounds of frickin' chicken chunks. Buy a $25 Frickers gift card and get 5 frickin' bonus bucks free. The ho home for fun, food, sports, and spirits is Frickers.
Friggin' chicken chunks, 4 sauces too. Friggin' chicken chunks, 4 friggin' pounds, friggin' chicken chunks.
Ever wonder just how far an extra mile really goes? Drive a Mercedes-Benz van and find out. Start with a network of over 250 authorized dealerships, backed by a sales force ready to help you with everything from customization to service on vans like the Mercedes-Benz Sprinter that's tailored to your lifestyle, with options like blind spot assist and MBUX voice command for spoken directions, weather, and more.
The route is being calculated.
So whether you're enjoying life on the trail or working hard on the job, see how far an extra mile can really go by taking the first step into an authorized Mercedes-Benz van dealership today. Now with IRS Section 179, businesses can be eligible for up to a $25,900 tax deduction. That's up to $5,439 in tax savings.
Options and model availability may vary. See dealer for details about costs and terms. Some equipment described is optional. $5,439 tax savings based on 21% federal tax rate and eligibility to claim full $25,900 Section 179 vehicle deduction. Your tax rate and eligibility may vary. Consult your tax advisor for more information. Limits may apply. Visit nbvans.com. Offer valid through December 31st, 2020.
Geico won best customer satisfaction among auto insurers in the North Central region, according to J.D. Power. And Geico was ranked best in price. So switching to Geico is a good decision. Unlike the decision to improvise your best man speech.
Okay. I didn't actually write anything, but I love you, brother. Remember when you were just a baby, right? And you would cry like all day. And you couldn't even talk.
Geico, a decision you can feel good about. For J.D. Power 2020 award information, visit geico.com/JD Power.
For the one standing guard. For the eagle-eyed. For the knights in shining armor. And for all those who support them. We are Grainger, your experienced safety partner, offering supplies and solutions for every industry, committed to helping keep your facilities safe and your people safer. Call clickgrainger.com/safety or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
It's time for some straight talk. Look, we all drop our phones. It happens. You fumble it, crack it, splash it. Well, Straight Talk Wireless now offers this new Platinum Unlimited plan that includes phone protection. Just $65 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data, plus 20 gigs of hotspot, 100 gigs of cloud storage, and more. All on the best network. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise. See Mobile Protect terms and conditions at Assurion.com/Straight Talk. Limitations and exclusions apply.
When running a business, HR issues can kill you. Wrongful termination suits, minimum wage requirements, labor regulations. I'm Alan Jones, founder and CEO of Bambi. I created Bambi specifically for small business. Get a dedicated HR manager, craft HR policy, and maintain compliance for $99 a month. Seriously. Month to month, no hidden fees, cancel anytime.
Go to Bambi.com/CJR to schedule your free HR audit. That's BAM to the BEE.com/CJR.
Progressive presents The Sounds of the Old World.
The year is 2019, and someone is waiting for the previews to start in a movie theater.
Hey, you want anything? Popcorn? Soda? No, nothing.
This has been The Sounds of the Old World.
Brought to you by Progressive, where drivers can still switch and save like it's 2019.
Quote today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
It's not every day you have to replace a water heater, more like every 10 years. The Home Depot can help with a wide selection of the latest models from Rheem and a helpful online water heater buying guide to help make choosing the right Rheem easy. From gas to electric, tankless, even smart models that can spot a leak before it happens. Water heaters have come a long way. You don't have to. Go to HomeDepot.com to find the latest Rheem water heaters and helpful answers and advice from our water heater buying guide. Only from the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
BetterHelp wants you to start living a happier life today with professional counseling done securely online. Visit betterhelp.com/feelhappy and get 15% off your first month.
I can't wait till sports talk tomorrow because Justin's going to be all over. He's one of the people from day one that says the Bengals need to get an offensive line to protect their investment.
Don't miss the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, weekdays at 3 p.m. right here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. Whether you're at home, at work, or in your car, tune in to ESPN 1410 Wing AM or stream us live at wingam.com.
All right, everybody, we welcome you back. Justin Kinner, Kevin Nash with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. Coming up immediately following the show, Talking Out Loud, hosted by Sully. 1 entire hour dedicated to Dayton Flyers men's basketball talk coming your way. Former Dayton Flyer Ryan Mikesell is going to be Sully's guest coming up. Really excited about that. Ryan Mikesell, obviously one of the big fan favorites from last year's Dayton Flyers. Actually, I don't know why I say one of the fan favorites. There's not one disliked Flyer on last year's team, but either way, you see my point. Ryan Mikesell going to be joining Sully coming up immediately following the show, but let's be joined by Sully ourselves. Sully, welcome in, man. What's up? How are you doing?
Doing well this week, man. It's great to have Flyers B-ball back. I got plenty of stuff to talk about. You know, we had game Tuesday, game Saturday. They're still on, as far as I know. You know, they don't play on Saturday. They're not playing next Tuesday now. But, you know, I'm feeling good when I have college basketball to talk about. You know, life is fine. Program's flowing. It's all good, man.
So we're one game into the season, 66-63 the final over Eastern Illinois. You and I chatted earlier today. Bottom line is it's game one. We've talked about the recent, I hate to use the word struggles, the game ones for UD, the tip-off seasons as of late. They haven't been the prettiest, but not a lot of teams do look very good in their very first game of the season. It's the first time you're going up against a different opponent than who you've been going up against in practice every day. No exhibition games. It's been a strange offseason because of COVID. We should have expected them to look a little rusty this past week. Was there anything that still concerns you, and what did you like about what you saw at the same time?
Yeah, you know, it's funny. For the game number one, right, I even did this on the radio show. I outlined the 3 areas where I feel like the Flyers have to improve to be a great team, right? And it's only because it doesn't make great radio to come on here and be like, well, things were swell and there's a great season ahead and the Flyers will figure it out.
There's a newspaper. There's a newspaper for that. So you know.
That's what I mean. It's just like, why would people want to hear me come on the radio and talk about like, oh, Chase Johnson went 3 for 3 from downtown? It's like, well, yeah, but he also was very disinterested in rebounding. So I don't know. It's just like the good things are so obvious in game one, but the bad things are more obvious and people want to talk about them more. But again, I'll go into greater detail at the 6 o'clock hour on this. But basically, I said, you know, the Flyers didn't close the game out very well. That's number one. Number two, I didn't really understand the rotation, and that's definitely something you can attribute to night one. And then the third thing was the rebounding. I mean, without a good inside presence, you know, that's the biggest area that we lost last year. They're going to need people to pick up the slack. And I saw in game one, Jordy's a big guy down low, but he's not an instinctive rebounder. Chase Johnson, he's kind of disinterested in rebounder. At least it seemed that way to me in game one. And then the guard trio is not really going to help you out because they're not inherent rebounders, right? Like those guys, you know what they're going to give you. And I'm not knocking any of them. It's just Ibby's the scorer. Jalen's the floor general. Rodney's the defensive specialist. I mean, all those guys can pop out and shoot 3, but they're not really going to help you bang down low because that's just not what they're good at. So I see those 3 areas as things that, you know, we have to focus on going into Saturday because SMU is a way better team in Eastern Illinois. And it goes without saying, if they play the same game on Saturday that they played on Tuesday, they're going to lose. There's no doubt about it. But in the same breath, just like you said, it's game one. I never say there's cause for concern. I would like to know a little bit more about why we had a walk-on playing 13 minutes, but it's a long season, man. There's 24 more games to go, and I'm sure those answers will shake themselves out eventually too.
So why did a walk-on get there? No, I'm just joking. We good.
He earned it in practice, man.
No, he did not earn it in practice. Let's not.
I mean, maybe.
No. We're not doing that. This was the number 3 team in the country last year. You're not going to tell me that a year later a walk-on earned 13. And I'm sure he's a nice kid.
Well, a walk-on became a Heisman Trophy winner and the quarterback of your Browns.
Bite me.
2-time walk-on.
Bite me. How about that? That's what. That's your professional analysis right there from Kidder. Bite me.
Dennis Rodman was also a walk-on.
No, but anyway. Okay, well, it was game 1. They were supposed to have an exhibition game at Cedarville. Didn't happen. I don't think we'd be questioning it if it was an exhibition game against Cedarville. But I heard you and Blackburn talk about it on the podcast. He was on the floor for the final game in a 1-possession game, so we thought that was kind of strange, too, a little bit. Who cares? But, I mean, like I said, it was game 1. If you start seeing this as a pattern moving forward, I guess you can start to ask more questions. Who are they? I mean, Coach Grant said today, too, in their media availability, just not 100%. They don't have all their guys ready to go to. So, again, as they get more healthy, we'll start seeing a different rotation, hopefully. Everything's going to be pattern-based moving forward. So, we shall see.
Yep. Yeah, well, and Coach Grant said the same thing today. He's a little bit more eloquent with his speech. But, Ryan Michael really did give me a good answer when I asked him about it. I was like, hey, we got to talk about it. A walk-on was on the floor. But again, and even to Kev's point, I'm not saying that he doesn't deserve to be on the floor. And I even said this to Ryan. It's not like I'm sitting here saying, this guy sucks. What I'm saying is, if a walk-on's getting 13 minutes on the opener, what's going on with the 5 guys on the bench that are on scholarship? That's the bigger concern. Not that the walk-on earned minutes. It's why do we have 5 guys on scholarship that he's getting passed up? And again, Ryan gave me a very good answer on it, which basically amounted to, hey, they haven't had a whole lot of time to learn the system, and Christian Wilson's a walk-on that's been with the program for 3 years. So in a pinch, AG knows that he can throw him in there. He knows what's expected of him, and he can at least get the job done until they can sub back in guys that maybe he's a little bit more comfortable with as well. So, all those little factors add in, but at the end of the day, when it comes down to, this, we're not at practice, and we don't know much. We're just opining.
Well, here's why I always say this, when universities get mad, when we start talking about things that could be going on behind the scenes, if, you shouldn't be saying things that you don't know. Well, that's if you tell people what's actually going, because the thing is, if you force media to fill in the gaps, that's a lot worse more times than not than what's actually going on. So that's why transparency is key. But again, we're overreacting after game 1. Like we've said, game 2, 3, 4 into A-10 play, then that's going to be the conversation there. Let's talk about the A-10, though. The A-10 had a very impressive start to the season. Richmond gets that win over Kentucky over the weekend. We see St. Louis get a big win over LSU. The A-10 had one hell of a weekend to tip off their college basketball season.
Yeah, they did. But to be honest with you, Kidder, I felt like it shook out pretty much how I had expected it to. And that's not taking anything away from the conference. But we sat here on this program, I think, 3 weeks ago, and we said, hey, there's 3 programs that are going to be at the top this year. It's going to be Richmond, St. Louis, and then it's Dayton. And then there's going to be a little bit of a gap for the rest of the teams. And to be honest with you, I don't really see anything to change my mind on that. Like you said, St. Louis, they got 2 wins. One was a cupcake, and then one was LSU. Richmond got the good win against Kentucky. But then, VCU, they went 2-2. Utah State and Memphis were their wins. Then they lost to a very good West Virginia team, and frankly, they got beat pretty good. And then they lost to Penn State, who frankly isn't going to be that good. Rhode Island was the same way. It's like they showed flashes that they were a competent team, but they lost to Boston College by 5. I mean, I'm going to tell you right now, Boston College is not going to the tournament. And so I say this, the conference is about as top-heavy as I thought. And then that second tier, I said this to many people this weekend, Rhode Island is the most NIT team I've ever seen. They're destined for the NIT. And I'm not, really throwing shade other than saying they're going to win some games that they probably shouldn't. They're going to lose some games they probably shouldn't, and they'll end up being 20 wins. But that's not going to be good enough to get you in the tournament this year. I guess maybe a little bit less than 20 wins since we're playing less games. But VCU is the same way. I mean, I just don't see how those teams are going to take such a gigantic leap up to all of a sudden be tournament teams. So, yeah, the A-10, the top teams, St. Louis, Richmond got it done. Dayton's got 3 opportunities to get it done here in the next 3 weeks. But below them, it's going to be tough for a lot of those other teams to kind of break through to that tier 1. And I'm not ready to change my mind. I think the 3 teams at the top will be in the NCAA tournament, and the rest of them will be going NIT or less.
Jeff Goodman tweeted out earlier today that according to his sources that the Basketball Oversight Committee is expected to recommend that the NCAA allow all transfers to get waivers to play this season. This could be proposed to the D1 Council, which meets next week on December 16th. There is a chance it could be voted prior to the 16th. He says long overdue. I bring that up because, right now, if the Flyers are still looking for extra pop to come off that bench or to have within that starting lineup, Elijah Weaver, how do you see that transpiring? Let's say that rule is passed. Are they going to try and get him eligible this season?
No, and it's for one.
Even if they're allowed.
About a few minutes.
Even if they're allowed.
They already are allowed, man. So here's the thing. This is where we go back. This is where we're going to go back to the start of the conversation where we talk about transparency and media filling in the gaps and guys like myself and you opining on such matters. The NCAA is granting waivers to just about anybody. There's been a handful of waivers that have not been granted across the country, number one. Number two, guys are not losing eligibility this year regardless of circumstance. So if you transferred, you are quite literally not losing your eligibility. So I've taken away both of the downsides to applying for a waiver. You're not going to get turned down, and it doesn't hurt your eligibility, right? So, I'm sorry to say this, but when you come out and you keep saying, well, he's not going to be back until maybe the second semester, and that's what they said, when you say stuff like that, it tells me it's probably something to do with academics. Now, again, I'm not confirming anything. I don't have sources. I'm simply just putting the pieces together that are right in front of me and, frankly, are quite obvious. So, no, if you nailed me down, I think the issue with getting Elijah Weaver on the court has more to do with the academics piece. But again, I can't confirm it. It's just there's no downside to applying for that waiver right now. And Grant's insistence that they're not doing it tells me that there's probably something else at play. So, yeah, I'm working to confirm this, man, but I got nothing for you right now.
Come on, damn it, Sully. You got to get on that. I expect that answer by the weekend.
I know.
So,
all right. Well, we got the pregame show this week, so hopefully by the time the pregame show starts Saturday morning, I'll have something for you.
Exactly. By the way, come on out, hang out with Sully. Going to be out at Timothy's Bar and Grill this Saturday, starting at 11 a.m., 11:30. We go live with the Talking Out Loud Buckeye. Sorry, oh man, I just said Buckeye, but yeah, I know you're a big Buckeye basketball fan. No, the Talking Out Loud Dayton Flyers men's basketball pregame show coming up this Saturday live from Timothy's Bar and Grill. We're pretty pumped about that. That'll be the first of many more to come, so we're pretty pumped about that. But the first one's this weekend, SMU, hoping to get that game in. We haven't heard anything otherwise. We know SMU's other non-conference game got canceled, not due to positive test on their end. That was a precaution put in place for their opponent. So right now, everything's moving towards that game happening. That's exciting too, because those were the 3 big ones coming. The 3 big ones coming up are SMU, Mississippi State, Ole Miss. If the Flyers get those 3 in, that's all that matters. I know the Purdue-Fort Wayne one was canceled. They said that they'll have an update as far as what they plan on doing there. If they get another game in, great. But as long as they get those 3 big ones in, I think that's going to help prepare them more than anything else. Not just for hoping to build a tournament resume, but getting them prepped for A-10 play as well.
Yeah, no, you're spot on, man, and that's why it was so great to see that those games stayed on the schedule, because once UD, they had that glimmering hope that they were going to go to South Dakota and get 3 good games. That ended up not happening after Ohio State pulled out, and then they were right after them leaving that tournament field. But, SMU, I'll give them credit. Throughout the pandemic, all I've heard, even since May, was that SMU was committed to playing the game, and they wanted to play the game with Dayton. And you're going to see why on Saturday. SMU is coming to town because they need a resume-building win. They have an experienced team that kind of fell apart down the stretch last year, and they brought back the entire roster. So, make no mistake, SMU is coming to get a W on Saturday, and, it's like an obvious statement, but they put this game on the schedule because they need to win, and they want to kind of prove themselves early on in the season. But going down the stretch, like you said, Next week it's Mississippi State and Atlanta. Then it's Ole Miss. Just keep your fingers crossed that these games stay on the schedule, because those 3 games right there will be all Dayton needs. If they go 2-1 in those 3, they'll have the ammo to start building that resume before they get into conference play. And that's what matters, man, because it's all about making the tournament.
Talking Out Loud, hosted by Sully, coming up next, immediately following the Justin Kidder Show with Kev Nash. 1 entire hour dedicated towards Dayton Flyers men's basketball talk. Sully, thanks. Good stuff. You'll be on here shortly, and we'll be rocking it at Timothy's Bar and Grill coming up on Saturday. So good hearing from you.
Hey, always great catching up, guys. Take care.
Later. All right, good stuff there. If you missed the interview with current Cincinnati Red Tejay Antone, we got that coming up for you here in just a moment. So don't go anywhere as we close out the show. Reds pitcher Tejay Antone joins us next. Don't go anywhere.